Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next few hours, along with Mike.
And good morning.
And everybody else should join us hopefully pretty soon.
Slackers.
Yeah, I know. Our number, 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is being brought to you by Adamus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, and also made possible by Telestream's Wirecast software. So I hope Santa came to see everybody.
Yeah, now he's going to wait for the bills to come in.
Why are you so low?
I don't know. Same reason you are, I guess.
I don't know. I mean,
check 1, 2, check. Looks fine to me here.
Okay.
Check 1, 2, check 1, 2.
It's all right. I mean, nobody's complaining.
Maybe you
so
should turn it up there.
Yeah, I did. So what did you say about Santa?
I said now that he's come, he's going to send his bill.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the way it works.
Yep.
Yep. But it was kind of quiet. It was good. No complaints.
It is a stressful time of the year.
It can be.
Yep.
Yep. Did all the family come over?
Yes, at varying times. We had everybody over here for my son's birthday. His birthday's on the 24th. We had his little get-together on the 23rd. And then my daughter and son-in-law left to go to his family's. They will be back over here probably today.
Yep, very nice. Very, very, very nice. Yeah, Tim, almost Happy New Year. But no, you can say Happy New Year. Morning, Gene. Jeff, look who we have watching today. USS Rover.
Yeah, it's been a while.
A long while. Merle. Give Merle one.
Give Merle one what?
You know, a good morning. Oh, come on.
Oh. Stand by.
I didn't hear about this until I was reading.
Is this what you meant?
Oh, Merle, that swimming pool looks fantastic. Do you got an 8X Speedo I can borrow? Oh, good Sunday morning.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. I'm running slowly.
Staples said Friday afternoon that nearly 1.16 million customer payment cards may have been affected in a data breach under investigation since October. The office supply retailer said 2 months ago that it was working with law enforcement officials to look into a possible hacking of its customers' credit card data. Staples said in October that it had learned of a potential data theft at several of its U.S. stores. That's interesting, not at headquarters, but at different stores, and not all stores. After multiple banks noticed a pattern of payment card fraud suggesting the company computer system had been breached. Now Staples believes that point of sale system at 115 Staples locations were infected with malware that thieves may have used to steal customers' names, payment card numbers, expiration dates, and card verification codes. You know they went to town with that. Staples said on Friday. At all but two of those stores, the malware would have had access to customer data for purchases made between August 10th and September 16th of this year. At the remaining two stores, the malware was active from July 20th through September 16th, the company said. So it kind of went away, and now they're talking about it. And I don't know, if they say 1.16 million, I would say something probably around 5 million.
Well, who knows? Who cares?
I don't know. They always try to minimize, make it sound like it's not as bad. I care. I shop at Staples. You know,
There is no security anymore.
The what?
There is no security anymore.
I know, but it's in. Being that I accept credit cards for the business, I always hear horror stories from customers about, oh yeah, they changed my card. Yeah, I've got a new card. It was compromised. Yeah, there's a new card that got compromised, and a lot of people get compromised. So far, I never had to do that. And I wonder if it's when you have a certain pattern on the internet, or is it just a luck of the draw kind of like a thing that you go to a store that happened to be, and you get. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not using credit cards in stores, and definitely I use it on the net.
My American Express card was compromised in a restaurant in the Atlanta airport.
See, and that's probably a one time that you've been there.
Oh no, I've been there many times.
Oh.
But when I was sitting in Raleigh and they were racking up charges at other places in the airport
I see.
in Atlanta after I had just left there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know exactly where the restaurant was, where it was done.
Was the restaurant one of those that you give them the credit card and they go behind
No.
closed door?
No.
Interesting.
No. It's one of fast food. You hand it to them, they do it
Swipe
right
it
there in
and-
front of you.
Yeah. So that had to have been that their system was infected.
I don't know. Who
It's
knows?
probably not the.
Your audio is low. I'm having trouble hearing you.
Uh-oh. I don't know.
Have you changed the gate?
Nope. Maybe I should. I don't know. No, it's fine there. Check. I can raise it.
No, I don't want to go too much. You'll get everything out of whack here.
How's this?
It's better, but what has that got to do with what's on your metering?
Well, the meter shows, 2 orange.
We don't want to go into the orange.
Well, I am into the orange. So, but you're not hearing me good, so it must be something.
I don't know.
It's all right. It'll straighten itself out. It always does.
But that's on Skype, not on the Hangout. See, now you're louder than I am. Amnon, you got to learn to read the meters.
Wait a second. The fader on the Skype channel was like about a little tiny below the 0.
It doesn't matter where you set it. It's how loud the volume is coming through the mixer.
Well, then, I mean, yeah, it's still, I'm still, check. I'm still going into the orange.
Then turn it down.
But you can't hear me.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
I mean, we can run it like this if you want to, but
No.
it really doesn't solve anything, Amnon.
Right, I know. I mean,
Okay.
I'm lowering. Is that okay? Now I'm to the top of the green and a little below.
Okay, there you go.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
It's probably also when I'm turning away from the mic a little bit. I
well, you shouldn't
realize
do
I'm
that.
doing that.
Okay. All right. Back to you.
No, never mind. I can't remember what I was talking about.
You were talking about stealing credit cards.
Oh, I mean, if it had to have been their system, because otherwise, I mean, if you just hand it and they swipe, it's not a matter of the attendant taking a number down or anything like that, handing it over to somebody.
Mhm. Well, I don't know how they did it. I mean, I don't know and don't
No.
really care.
No, I understand.
I'm like Rover, pay cash and you don't have to worry about it.
That's true.
But it's amazing how many people are not responsible enough to carry cash in their pocket.
Hey, a lot of people don't have it to carry in their pocket, Mike.
They got it on a credit card. They're going to pay it sooner or later.
Right. But I mean, no, come on. That's crazy to go and go to an ATM and cash and use the money to pay because it costs you a lot
Of course
more.
not. You when you go to the bank to make your deposit, you cash the check or you do a withdrawal at the bank so that you don't pay any fees.
Yeah, but the thing is that a lot of people don't have it to carry. I mean, maybe things will get better.
Come on, that's just not true. People with massive credit card debt have two issues, neither of which is lack of money. You know what the two issues are if you've got credit card debt? A, discipline. You don't have the ability to wait until you can afford something before you buy it.
Yeah.
The second problem that you have is time. If you stop spending and continue to spend the same amount of money on the crap that you put on a credit card, use that money to pay off the credit card, you would be completely out of credit card debt eventually. It's not a money problem. It's a time and a discipline issue.
Well, I mean, I could give you an example where it's not.
Okay, I'm waiting.
Me.
Okay.
My accountant said, Amnon, you're going to have to spend a little money this year to offset your return for next year. Now, wait a second.
Okay.
So the money is not in the bank. I mean, there's no cash in there. I can't write checks. So I spent on a credit card that comes the beginning of next year, I'll pay off.
Okay, well, you're
I'm just saying there are.
I'm just telling you that I'm not. When you make it personal, it's hard for me to comment on it because I'm not going to tell you what I'm thinking about your accountant.
No, you should tell me. Why not?
I think I'd get a new accountant.
Why?
Because any accountant that tells you to spend $1,000 to save $250 on taxes should be replaced.
Well, I don't know how much it would save. I mean, she was just saying that's
what. You're in the 25% tax bracket. Spending $1,000 saves you $250 on taxes. Dave Ramsey goes into this all the time.
Really?
Oh, all the time. It talks about what kind of a fallacy it is to go spend money so you can cut your taxes. There's only one time that I am aware of that doing that is a valid argument, and that is that if you've got to have a new piece of equipment for your business in the next 30 days, it's mandatory, and it comes down to getting it on December 31st versus January 2nd, then maybe that's a valid argument if you have had a particularly good year this year and need the tax deduction. But whenever he says go find something to buy, that's crazy.
Hmm.
It's insane. It's like leasing a car. Anyone who argues that leasing a car is cheaper is just not looking at the numbers.
No, that I agree.
It's just leasing is renting, and anytime you rent a car, you rent it from whomever owns it. They had to buy it. Now they're going to buy it and rent it to you, and it's cheaper than you buying it yourself. That's just not logical.
No, you're buying it for them.
Yeah. And then you're paying them rent, and they've got to make a profit on the rental, or they're not going to be able to stay in business. Okay, so Charles says, question, Amazon Prime or Netflix? There are two answers to that question, Charles. The first is that you go with whichever one has the content that you want. In my experience, 95% of the time, that's Netflix. Amazon Prime.
You might be better off going with Amazon Prime if you're going to take advantage of music streaming and 2-day shipping, though.
Agreed, but that's not primarily for video. If it's primarily for video.
No, yeah, if it's video, Netflix is the key. But if it's partially video, but you could take advantage of free music streaming and Kindle books and 2-day shipping, then I'd go with Prime.
Yeah, I mean, I have Prime Instant Video for the other reasons. I'll bet we haven't watched 2 movies or shows or anything on Prime Instant Video.
Instant Video seems to have more recent TV shows than Amazon does. Or I'm sorry, Prime Instant Video seems to have more recent shows than Netflix does. It seems like Netflix takes a while to update some of their now playing shows, and Amazon seems to be on that.
But everything we've looked at on Amazon Prime, we had to pay for.
Yeah, you have to filter it by Prime Instant Video stuff.
Good morning, Nick.
It's kind of a pain.
How do you do that on the Roku?
I have no clue. I've never watched it on the Roku, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I just don't find anything worth watching on Amazon Prime.
I think there's some stuff. Or what you could do is, I think you can view the Netflix catalog without signing in.
Actually, that's an interesting question because I'm not sure.
No, maybe you can't. No, I don't. No, you can view the Amazon catalog. You can't view the Netflix catalog.
Which is really aggravating.
Yeah. So, well, what you can look at is Amazon puts out every month what new shows they're, I guess, or TVs or movies that they're adding in the month or whatever, because they're not. I don't think Amazon does this, but Netflix will add something to their video streaming service, and it'll be there for a month or two, and then it's gone. So that's also something that's on there now. There's a good chance it won't be there in 2 months.
That's Netflix or Amazon?
That's Netflix. They add and remove movies and TV, more movies all the time.
Yeah, I don't really care about movies. Unless it's like we purchased the DVD for My Cousin Vinny, a 20-something-year-old movie. No one has it for free. You still have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I spent $5.99, bought the Blu-ray DVD, watched it, and didn't have to deal with downloading it.
Hey, Nick, did you say that they remove and add?
They what?
They add and remove movies all the time?
Yeah, they do.
Constantly.
I wonder why they remove.
Because they only have licensing for a certain period of time. For example, whenever with Netflix, when they go to a studio and license a movie from them, they would do it for a certain period of time. If they're paying $10,000 a day or whatever it is for the movie, they only have so many days. Then they take that, which people will find it, watch it, they'll get most of the traffic. Then they'll take those licensing fees and go license another movie that will also generate traffic.
Yeah, they don't do it secretly. They publish every month what they're releasing. So they'll say, all right, December 28th, we're adding this movie, and this movie. So then it's there for maybe a month or two. Everybody knows it. They go on, they watch, and then they go away. That's not the case, but there's other things that they
Interesting.
have lifetime licenses for, I believe. But then
Well,
there's
the
things
other
that run
thing
everything
too,
well.
though, is if it's one of the movies on Amazon that they charge for, there's no reason not to leave it up there because they don't pay unless somebody watches.
Correct.
I don't know. I mean, we have both, and Kathy uses them every now. I mean, when they sit down, Donna and Kathy and Katie, they'll go through both, and I don't know what they end up using, but I think they're using both.
My daughter put what was it she put? Oh, the Time Warner app on her
Roku?
Kindle.
Oh.
And she was able to watch some channels that she had not even subscribed to.
Yeah, the Time Warner app is cool.
But it burns up your internet.
Yeah. And if you have Time Warner for internet, it's not limited, so.
Yet.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure it ever will be. It's interesting.
No, I don't think it will be either.
the other thing,
Particularly with,
the other
by the
thing
way,
with Netflix, I think we talked about it before, is you can go, not in a legal way, but you can go to other countries, other zones, so areas
Correct.
of Netflix, and watch movies that are not on the U.S. Netflix network.
Yeah.
is that really true?
Yeah, there's like little Chrome
Yeah.
add-on. It's a proxy. That's all it is.
Okay.
There's Netflix proxies. Because the UK will have like what's their one big show over there that everybody watches? The car show.
Our show.
Yeah. What's the big UK car show? Gears or whatever.
Don't
Top
have any
Gear.
idea.
Top Gear.
You know what I'm talking? Top Gear. There you go. That's the big UK one. So like I think that's in Netflix UK. So people can hop over there and do that. But yeah, it's a Netflix proxy.
So I mean, there.
And I'm not sure that's illegal.
I don't think
It's
you.
not so much that it's illegal as it violates licensing terms.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
That's it. But no, I don't think it's illegal. I mean, it may be. I'm not sure.
People don't tend to worry about what's illegal much anymore. It's kind of
No,
old-fashioned.
no. What is it? What, 3 felonies a day or whatever?
3 felonies a day. I mean, that's the law is just really inconvenient. Bad thing is the good people are the ones who get busted. The trash out there, they've got multiple felonies and they're still out doing their thing.
So I'm not sure if we already covered this, but how was everybody's Christmas?
We already covered it.
Damn.
How was your Christmas?
It was good.
What'd you get?
Video games. Typical.
Well, that's what you wanted.
So
Did you not
Oh.
get something else you wanted?
nope. I wanted a few video games. Got a few video games.
Yeah, and just in time for brushing and oiling your abilities, bringing
Yeah, I
back
know.
on the radar.
Correct. We'll be back on the on Saturdays. It's going to be interesting.
You're
Did you
going to be
just-
on at the same time as Dave Jackson.
Oh no.
What time you gonna do it? Did you decide?
Yeah, 10 o'clock. Oh no, I'm sorry, 11 o'clock.
Saturdays at 11, starting
The 10th,
the 10th.
2015. Merry Christmas, everybody. It's the most anticipated podcast of 2015.
There's no question about it.
Exactly.
And anybody who wants to watch it, the URL is radargaming.net.
Yeah, I actually need to get a new theme on the website because I just found out that the website does not work on Safari on iOS. Looks like garbage.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Are you going to take telephone calls?
Wow.
No. Not right away, at least.
Mm.
Why'd you ask that, Mike? I'm interested.
Because it can be done. To me, that's the part having. I mean, you got a co-host, which is good,
Mm-hmm.
but being able to interact with the audience and chat in other ways also seems worthwhile to me.
So do you think I should just do a Skype? I mean, to be honest, the audience of my show will not call in via phone.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
Because for the longest time, I used to use what was that? On Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah.
And nobody ever called in on the phone.
Yeah.
Everybody called in on Skype because the people watching the show are gamers and geeks, and they're already hooked up on Skype.
Then do it on Skype or TeamSpeak or something like that.
So you think that's
I mean, look, people.
No, I'm curious if
I'm
you think
answering.
that's
A lot of people don't call in anymore. I mean, look at this show. We don't have nearly the callers we used to have. I don't know if it's because we don't have the audience we used to have, or whether people are just not compelled to call. I was in a radio station in Tennessee a year ago. The guy was, this popular station, the guy had been on the air in the market for years, and I noticed that he was not getting a lot of phone calls. He said, "Oh yeah," he said that died about 4 years ago. He said people just don't call in like they used to. He said now they're blowing up our email. And I said, "You don't have a chat room?" No.
Yeah.
So you just do what you got to do.
Yep.
Well,
By the way,
I'll definitely take a look, because if that's something I'm not against doing. It's just like you said, people just aren't calling in. So is it something that it's even worth having set up every week?
Well, to me, for example, for me to set it up, all I have to do is start an application and move a pod up.
Yeah, see, it's a little bit different for me.
Well, you ought to fix your system.
I agree. I don't have the cables. I don't have the proper cables to do everything.
Cables.
Yeah, for all my aux sends.
Oh, well, that's expensive.
Exactly. I'm lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what my
cables
problem.
do you need, Nick? I will send them to you.
Oh no, I just
Merry
need.
Christmas.
I actually have the cables. I just haven't set them up.
I can sit here right now and I can put 5 or 6 people on the air simultaneously. I can incorporate telephone, SIP, Skype, TeamViewer, TeamSpeak. Google Hangouts, Zoom.u. I put them all on the air at the same time talking to each other. It takes me about 10 seconds.
If I wasn't so damn lazy, I could do that too.
Mike,
Well, there you go.
Nick doesn't have time for that because he's playing games and he's got a girl.
No,
Uh-huh.
that's not it at all. It's just I set up my mixer. I don't have I have no reason to set it up.
You got the same mixer there that Amnon's using to run his whole network.
I know.
Mike, I mean, Nick, you can do it, but like you said, it's not the priority, so you're not
Exactly.
doing it. I understand, yeah.
We did the calls for months on the show, and
Yeah.
we got like one.
Well, that's when it's easy to do it.
Yeah.
Because nobody's using it anyway. Or you can just give out your Skype number, and if somebody wants it.
No, but I'm saying I don't have another aux send set up, is what I'm saying. Because I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
have another
one
s-
cable.
No, I don't have the sound card on the computer either.
You don't have a spare computer you can use?
No, I don't.
You don't have your mom and dad doesn't have a laptop you can
I mean,
borrow?
I have a laptop.
Mike, he doesn't
I
have the
don't know where I
room
put
for it,
though.
too.
Yeah, that's the
You
thing. I don't
all
have.
at the same time. What did you say, Amnon?
I said he doesn't have the room for it. You saw
I
his,
have a
you saw
laptop,
his
but
room and all that, and it's.
I have no place to put it in my setup. If I put the laptop here, it's gonna cover half the thing. I really
Put
have.
it on the floor.
There's no room on the floor.
Stand it up over there instead of that Mountain Dew bottle.
I'm not gonna put a laptop behind me.
Why?
If-
Just log into it with TeamViewer and operate it from one of your main monitors.
If you try, you can do it, but it's not a
If
priority.
If I wanted to do it, I could. I could just lay it on top of my desktop.
Exactly.
It's just I'm lazy.
Yeah.
I know.
Let me ask you this, Mike. Can't you use a smartphone to do part of
Skype
that
on
stuff?
mobile's awful.
No?
To do what?
To hook, let's say, to do Skype and
Oh.
hook it to the mixer. Is there a way? I don't know. I'm asking.
I'm sure that you have to ask Merle. He's the one who's gone off the deep end.
Skype on mobile, I've been doing it a lot more, and mobile to mobile Skype is awful. The calls constantly quit. It's not good.
But it's not a hardware issue. It's a bandwidth issue.
But the thing is, it's really not, because yes, it is a bandwidth issue, but it's not a bandwidth issue. It's not that the people that I'm talking to have awful bandwidth. And I don't have awful bandwidth either. It's just for whatever, and Skype just for whatever reason can't do the calls on mobile. They must allocate such a small priority or such a small subset of their server bandwidth to mobile that it just doesn't work.
All right. Before we go too far, Tim wants to know if you have any opinion about the NVIDIA Shield tablet.
I don't know. It depends if you can get a good deal on it. The NVIDIA Shield's expensive. It's a nice tablet. It's an Android tablet, so you can do. It's more than just a gaming tablet. It'll do everything that, like a regular Android tablet will do. It depends. If you've got a good internet connection, if you've got a really good internet connection, like a powerful router, you can stream games via NVIDIA Stream, I think is what it's called. It's a good buy if you can get a good deal on it. I wouldn't spend $300 on it.
That's nothing.
But maybe it depends what you're trying to play. I just got a 3DS a few months ago, and I think that was a much better buy for me, because I'm not really into playing hardcore games on such a small screen. But it's nice. I just got some games for Christmas for the 3DS, and I think that may be a better buy. But it depends what kind of games you're playing, really.
So why is it so expensive? Is it because of the high?
It plays full-fledged games. It's a powerful tablet.
Will it replace a laptop?
No, it's a tablet, but
So
it's meant for portable gaming.
Okay.
Charles is saying that one nice thing about his Amazon Prime trial is that he can get 5.1 audio over his Roku 3 on an older surround system. I had 5.1 about 5 years ago. I took it down. I just don't bother with it anymore. My kids gave me a sound bar for Father's Day, and even then, it's only a, what do they call it, a 2.1 with stereo with a subwoofer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very nice. It's very adequate.
Gets the job done, right?
It gets the job done. It would be nice to have a nice surround system. I've got a friend who's probably spent $40,000 on his room. I'm not going to do that. But it does the job. And again, no more than we watch. It's not worth spending the kind of money. But yeah, if you got some old equipment lying around, you want to get industrious, and you're not as lazy as Nick, you can actually set up a 5.1 system fairly cheaply.
Oh, sure.
I don't know. Don't knock Nick. Don't.
No, that's exactly
knock
what it is.
Nick
There's nothing
down.
knocking. I'm lazy. There's
Nick did a lot with his room. I remember how he was doing it, and he's really utilizing the space in his room.
Oh, I am, but I'm lazy. It's
What's
as
the
simple as
difference?
that.
What's the difference between using and utilizing?
Using is just using. Utilizing is planning on and using every space to its best. I don't know. That's the way I think about it. And he did good. And we're sitting here and looking at him, and it looks like he's sitting in a pretty big room.
Yeah,
Well, it's not.
not at all.
It's amazing how he crams all that stuff in there and still knows where everything is,
It
and
could not be
everything's
a
still.
smaller room.
A what?
I said it couldn't be a smaller. People think, wow, that wall behind you must be really far away. I can't even fully extend my arm.
Yeah. Everything is breathing, everything is cooling, and it's fine. Don't knock him, Mike.
Mike is not knocking me.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I am.
I don't think you're knocking me.
I'm teasing.
It
If he gets offended, he'll rage quit. Don't worry about
The
it.
fact that you're
is,
lazy.
it is what it is. The fact is, I'm lazy.
Yeah, the fact that you're lazy is, okay, fine. A lot of people are,
Yeah,
but you.
Why bother setting it up?
All joking aside, Nick is anything but lazy. Nick works hard. The thing is, though, that he works at what he wants to do, and he works hard at it, and that's just the way he operates. And there's nothing wrong with that.
100%.
If it were a priority, he'd bust his butt and he'd get it right.
Exactly. But it's not. So it gets done when it gets done.
By the way, I've got to give a shout out to Arnie Carl. Over Christmas, I was trying, my son wanted a Note 4. Andrew suggested that I instead get him one of the new OnePlus ones.
Mm-hmm.
And upon doing some reading and research, I decided that that probably was a good deal based on these new plans out now. If you buy your own phone, you actually can come out cheaper than if you get it on the easy payment plan through AT&T and Verizon. The difference being that, I mean, I don't want to get all the way into this, but the short story is that if you go to AT&T to buy and get their new quote unquote discounted plans and a new phone, then what they do is they quote unquote discount the plan so that you can buy the phone.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that this amount of money that you pay for the phone is absolutely retail.
Yep.
It is 100% of the cost of the phone. Contrary to what I was told, though, after the phone is paid off in 30 months, your monthly plan cost does not go back up.
Back down, you mean?
It stays where it was. The plan cost does not change in relationship to your acquiring a phone through them. That being said, if you can look around and find a phone for $100, $200, $300, $400 cheaper, then they're willing to sell it to you at AT&T. You can save that amount of money if you can come off it cash, or in Nick's case, put it on a credit card.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, their incentive to look at this OnePlus phone is that it's $360 with no contract and it's unlocked. It seems to be a great phone to have if you're into that sort of thing. Anyway, the way the company's operating, good or bad, is the way Google rolled out Gmail, and that is you had to have an invitation to be able to order one. That way they can control their inventories and not have people waiting 6 months to get the phone. They have them 6 months waiting to get an invitation. And so anyway, I tweeted it out on 22nd, somewhere along in there, 23rd, does anyone have an invitation? And then about 10 o'clock that night, Arnie responded that he had one that was running out that night if I wanted it. So he sent it to me. I logged in, activated it, was able to order the phone. And according to an email I got yesterday, they have now shipped it. So we'll see how that goes.
Sweet.
The disadvantage is that we're presently on AT&T, and there's about a 50-50 chance that I'm actually going to switch over to Verizon.
Because
Verizon's getting a lot better coverage in our area than AT&T is. Over at Ken George's house, they get 1 bar at AT&T, and they get 4 bars on Verizon. There are a lot of dead spots with AT&T, and the good news is that AT&T and Verizon hate you equally, so it's not like it's a company thing. It's just a matter of which one has better service in a particular area. I used to have Verizon when I first started with my company. They provided me with a Verizon phone, meaning that I was carrying 2 phones, my personal phone and the company phone. The Verizon worked pretty well, but at the time, this was a long time ago, the time was not really much difference between the two. I don't know what's going on with AT&T, but they're not investing the money in the towers apparently that Verizon is, or something. I don't know. I don't have any idea.
I was I was going to ask and see if anybody can tell me what to do here. A couple of weeks ago, Tim Barber suggested I wanted a newer phone. Well, I wanted another phone because my phone stopped working as a phone. I couldn't. When you dial, it took like 5 minutes to start ringing. So Tim suggested I'll get the Galaxy S3, and give me a link, and the price was right. The phone is nice. I mean, I got it and everything, and went to the Verizon store, and they switched it. They had to put a new SIM in the phone because the SIM was not exactly the same. The Droid was a smaller size. He said, "No, we need to upgrade it, but don't worry, it's not going to cost you."
Mhm.
While I was still having, while I still had the old phone, and I was talking to tech support, she said, "You're going to have to do a factory reset on the phone and then see if it's working." Because she said, "I think it's just software. It's not the hardware." And I sort of like agree because both Kathy, my wife, and me have the same phones and it had the same problem. So I didn't want to back up and all that, and I wanted a bigger screen. So I said, "Yeah, I'll just get another phone. It's okay." I said, "Can I do the factory reset afterwards?" She said, "Oh, yeah." So got it all fixed, came home and turned on the old phone. And sure enough, I mean, works on Wi-Fi and you can go and you can do everything except making phone calls on the network. So I said, "Well, all right, so maybe something is wrong here. Let me do a factory reset just so it's everything is clear because I don't need all the stuff on it." Well, that was not a good idea because at this point, after doing it, you turn it on and it wants you to activate the phone. And of course, the phone is not activatable. Anybody ran into this? I mean, what can I do with that phone now?
The old one or the new one?
The old one.
Throw it away.
No,
you use it as a
no.
it's used as a Wi-Fi device.
Well, that's the thing. I can't even get to anything. I mean, the minute you turn it on, it wants you to activate first. And when you say activate, it wants to know your phone number and all that kind of stuff. So it's a catch-22. It's I can't use it. If I didn't do the factory reset, it would have worked okay
No,
because
there's a way to do it.
I'm sure
Tim
there
says
is,
there's a way to do
but
it.
I'm
Tim
wondering
says
if
you can
anybody
buy-
knows.
Tim says you can bypass the activation so that you can use it like a small tablet.
Okay,
how do you
so I
do
need
that?
to figure out how because there's only activate or cancel, and if you hit activate, it wants to know the phone number, and maybe I'll talk to you. Maybe I'll talk to you, Tim, after the show. But yeah, so I said, with Kathy's phone, no, don't reset it. Just use it like this, because in the house it's fine. You can go and you can do whatever you want with it as a tablet. So even if I want to give it to one of my nephews, just here,
He
use it.
says there's a button sequence that you do, something like top right, bottom left, and bypass it.
Okay.
You have to stand on your head and rub your stomach at the same time.
But yes, Tim. I mean, I appreciate your information about the S3. It's great. I love it, and Kathy does too. I know it's an older phone, but it works great. What, Mike?
What?
I thought you were going to say something.
I was just going to change the subject.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of my biggest complaints with a lot of mixers, a lot of podcasters and internet broadcasters use the cheapest Behringer mixers.
Mm-hmm.
Which my biggest complaint with those is that the LED metering on them they don't have enough LEDs. What you might have 2 green, 1 yellow, 1 red. You really don't have a lot of control over the audio. And these guys can't hear anything, so they have to rely on metering. Did some research looking for some metering. I found one that I really like, but then I also found the one that I just posted in chat. The problem being that the site is in Czechoslovakian language, Czech language, whatever that language is, I don't recall. And Google Translate works fairly well on it, but the problem is I couldn't figure out how to place an order for these. There are actually 2 on that page that I posted. The one at the top is the original version. The new version is down at the bottom where it says updated 1/1/2014 VU meter something, where it has the the second one. It has a much better quality printed circuit board. It's double-sided. It's also plated through and has solder mask on it. Anyway, I'm going to try to order some of these and build them. I finally got to the guy who designed the circuit and asked him where I could buy the parts, and he told me who was selling them for him. He's not involved in the marketing of them. He gave me the email address. I sent the guy an email. Hopefully he'll answer it tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see. But the benefit here is, what I'm thinking about is that this little unit, and by the way, there's a video somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, there's a video on the page I just posted that it shows you the dynamics and the operation of it, how it works. Actually, there are 3 videos, and as you will see, that if you had one of these, instead of the piece of crap meter off to the side, if you had one of these such that you could put them directly, like put them right below the camera, so that when you're looking at the camera, you can also see the VU meter, then you'd have a lot better control over your audio levels. By the way, Amnon, I've been meaning to ask you, how are you sending audio from the mixer to the streaming computer?
It's hooked with USB, as far as I know.
That's what
No. Yeah, it goes into the line in.
It goes in analog instead of the USB?
I think that's the way it is. Hold on a sec.
I thought it was USB.
I thought so too. Can we make one what, Tim?
Yes, it goes in the analog. I don't. I think the USB does not work for that.
It should.
All right. Well, next time you're here, we'll try it.
I
I'm not
was
going to mess
thinking
things up.
that's
I'm sorry. It works.
I know, but I thought that's the way we had it set up, because you were fighting the difference between the 2 Behringer USB cards.
Well, let's put it this way. There is a plug in the speaker. It's in the speaker. That's right. It's in the speaker, not in the microphone.
Yeah. It would
So,
be
yeah, it must be going through USB then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nick, does that mixer have an insert on the main output? How many
No.
more? Huh?
No, I don't think it does.
Okay. And
All the
Amnon,
channels have inserts though.
right? Individual channels have inserts.
Yeah.
So Amnon,
Actually, no. Only 1 through 8 I think have inserts.
only the mics.
Yeah, only the mics have inserts.
You were saying, Mike?
Amnon,
Yeah.
You have what? 2 DBX 286s.
3.
Are you using the third one?
Yeah, for the 3 mics.
Okay.
Why? Why do I?
I'm trying to come up with a poor man's program processor.
Okay.
So we'll see how it goes. Merle said someone needs to make a video about setting levels from the mixer through the gate to the PC. Well, doesn't A to Z guy have that, Merle? For $100, he'll show you.
It's a good deal.
Yep. I buy it. I spend $100 a month there.
Hey, good for you, Mike.
Yep.
Can I have your login?
Sure. I
Right.
posted. Hang on a second. Okay, I just posted it all in chat.
Oh, sweet. And this is on podcast A to Z?
Yeah.
All right, great. I appreciate that.
Anytime. Stole Merle's password. I actually thought about doing some videos about that sort of thing, but you know what happens? You get, and Nick Merle knows too, but Nick and Amnon know that you try to help people and they want to argue with you. They ask you a question, but they don't want to hear the answer, so I don't bother wasting my time. I haven't done any podcast consulting in months.
And how is that going?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Good.
I have to deal with idiots.
All right, don't call Merle an idiot. That's not very nice.
Well, he knows.
On. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, that was a good show today.
I'm
Good show, man.
I'm following what Tim just posted about touching the corners. It doesn't do anything when I touch the corners.
What are you trying to do?
He's trying to bypass activation on his
Yeah.
old.
Oh, he's still trying to do that. Oh, that's what I didn't know.
He wants you to watch that YouTube video, which you can do after the show.
Oh boy.
What? A caller?
Cool. Good morning. Good morning, caller.
Or not?
Or not.
So close.
Whoever it is, we can't hear you.
Is it telephone or Skype?
It's telephone. Telephone.
I'm going to call you on the phone and see if it's him or us.
Okay.
I don't think it's us because we heard the Skype ring.
I know, but
Well-
the ring can be separated from the audio.
That's true.
Yes, it's true. That's why I said it. Gee
Oh,
whiz.
excuse me.
Jeez.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so it was Merle's problem.
Merle, try calling in.
That's a shocker.
I hung up.
Yes, you did.
Oh, Merle.
Go ahead and try it again, Merle.
For everybody, we give Merle a hard time. This is not a. We don't hate him.
Yeah, that much.
At least I don't. I don't know if Mike does. It's
Not that
possible.
much. No, Merle is an interesting sort. If he'll hurry up and call in, we'll harass him in person. But he killed himself to get his hands on a Delta 1010 LT sound card, which, as far as I'm concerned, is the best possible sound card you can get for a broadcaster or podcaster if you want to do anything more than record on your iPhone. And then I learned last night he's decided he's not going to use it. He instead bought a PreSonus box. which I
Can we
can't
hear you
figure out
now?
how it works.
We can't hear you.
Hello?
Oh, there you are.
Hey!
I can't hear you guys on my phone.
You cannot?
He's on an iPhone. What do you expect?
Yeah, but I have no audio on my phone. This is a landline I called in. I can't hear you at all.
That makes no sense.
I'm not so sure I could hear you either. I didn't check it. I was listening over
Uh-oh.
over the Hangout. So Amnon, check your tools options audio settings to see if when you talk it's going out.
Well, I don't. You know what?
Well, you just have to check.
Actually, it's not going out.
Oh,
All right. Why is it not going out? This is.
Check your aux send.
Yeah, the aux send is fine.
And you guys were giving me a hard time.
Well, we couldn't hear you, so. Let me see if it's.
You know what? That's probably why I wasn't talking, because you weren't sending sound. He didn't know we were talking to him.
damn, Amnon.
Because I was listening to Amnon talk back through the stream. Or
That's
through the
interesting.
Hangout.
That's very interesting. Why?
And so what aux send are you using for that computer?
One. And it's on 0. I mean, it's all the way down.
or-
What? That is what? Check. No, nothing.
Is it plugged in?
Is
yeah,
it turned on?
that's what I was trying. The thing is, it's not working when you go ahead and talk, Mike. Oh yeah,
One,
no.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
With you, it didn't work, but when. Oh, that's right, because you're coming. You're like me talking in, but when Merle talks, I do see the speakers jump, but the
Right, but
microphone.
until you see the input jump, you're not sending any audio to
I
him.
know. To USB. To USB.
Merle, if you can hear us through the stream, I just put the link in Skype chat. You can join the Hangout.
I think he's on a phone.
I know that, but he was originally on his computer, then he tried the phone.
Ah,
And he knows how to do a Hangout.
I hope so.
That is not good.
Something got unplugged or something got changed.
I know. What is it? I mean, the only thing I can do. Oh, no, he already hung up.
You can fix it after the show.
No, because what if somebody else wants to know? What I'm going to
Well-
do is I'm going to restart Skype.
I don't think it's Skype.
I don't know,
not Skype.
just in case. Just in case. Go ahead, guys. I mean, you want me to give you something to talk about?
No, we're gonna see if Merle's gonna join in.
Yeah.
Oh,
So how are you? I mean, you have to look at aux1, take the cable out, and obviously the cable is not connected somewhere. And everything for aux1, all of the aux1s should be turned up to either 9 or 12 o'clock, except for the channel that is coming back from that mixer.
right.
All of the
And
ones
they are.
should be turned
Oh
to either
my.
9 or 12 o'clock, except for the channel. Okay, you killed the stream. There you go. What's up, Merle? See, I told you he had it all screwed up. Talk to us, Merle. Kill the stream and then turn your audio back on.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. Are you there?
Yep.
Hey,
I thought I had to call in to defend myself. I was getting bashed today on computers.
I know, but you normally leave at 10, and it's going to be brutal.
Oh yeah. Actually, today I kind of got this head cold thing going on, so I'll be foregoing church and sitting here.
Oh.
good Sunday morning.
Good
Sunday
stuff.
morning.
So anyway, you get the 1010 LT after you go into a panic over whether you're going to be the high bidder. You finally get it, and then decide not to use it.
Well, I mean, you're right. I did get it. I want it. Now the thing is, I don't have the analog cables with it, so I can buy some, like you pointed out. They sell them on eBay. But I went out and bought because first of all, the reason I was looking for the 1010 because you recommended it, and two, my Behringer mixer, the USB out to the computer always had this little, sounded like computer noise on the line. I could never get rid of it. So that drove me nuts. So I went out and I bought the 1010, and then in the interim, I found that PreSonus, I think it's called the i2, which was very interesting to me because you can directly hook that up to your iPhone or iPad, which works fantastically if you go mobile. So what I did was Nick told me, kind of how to hook it up. So that basically the PreSonus is now the interface between my Behringer and my PC, and the sound quality is so much better. The noise I was hearing is completely gone.
So you're just using it for a sound card.
That is correct.
Hmm.
But I also hook it up to my iPhone 4S. So because it doesn't go through the earphone and the mic jack on top, it connects through to the bottom. So the sound quality when I hook it up to my iPhone is fantastic. So
Well, what do you mean? So when you use it with your iPhone, what are you talking about?
okay, so in the back of that PreSonus, there's an output that is made for iDevices. So I use the Apple cable that came with the iPhone, plug it into the PreSonus, and now basically the PreSonus is the interface between my mixer and my iPhone. So I can do everything I can do on my computer now on my iPhone. So if I'm mobile and go on Mixler, or there's a new app called Hear Me Now that I've been using to, do 47-second political rants, and the audio is great. I mean, I've never gotten that good of audio, into my phone before until I got that PreSonus i2.
What do you mean into your phone? You're using your phone to connect to Mixler?
Yes, to Mixler
Why?
or just in case you go mobile.
How often do you do that?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
No, but that's interesting because that's the biggest problem is the phones and tablets are useless because they don't have audio. They don't have two audio jacks. You've got to buy that iRig garbage that doesn't work or whatever
Right,
it's called.
and I bought that and had it for like 3 hours, and the sound quality sucked.
It's not good.
It's not good, not at all.
Get a Mac.
So,
He has a Mac.
down the road, I offered you, Mike, the 1010 because I know you hoard those things. I think you're the reason why the market on those things are so expensive.
I know.
Well, I
But-
got mine.
Well, apparently you have more than one, is what the word on the street is.
Yes, I have about 5 of them.
Oh my.
So I offered it up to you because you have done a whole lot of things for me, and I won't go and tell everybody what you've done in case
Oh, go ahead.
you haven't done them for Nick. He'll get mad. But I offered it to you, and you said no, hold on to it. So I'm going to hold on to it, throw it in my other PC,
Can I have it?
how well it works.
All I ask you to do is one thing, Merle, and that is to go ahead and install it in another computer and play with it and learn what its capabilities are. Then if you don't need it or don't want it, I'll buy it from you. But do take the time to familiarize yourself with it because it is a disappearing opportunity. They don't make them anymore, and at this point in time, no one has come out with anything close for a PCIe bus. There's hope that someone will, but the theory is that the USB 3 is probably going to bypass all that.
Yeah, I will do that. I will definitely check it out. But it looks interesting. I hope it works. I paid $101 for it with shipping.
That's the deal.
Yeah, the guy said it worked. So, but if I decide not to use it, I'm not. I can't take any money from you because I'm in debt to you
Well,
already.
you can't send it to me if you can't take any money. But I mean, it probably would be better for Nick to have it unless he's got a computer. Do you have a PCI slot in your computer, Nick?
I do. I have no clue if I have access to it though. It may be covered up with something else.
Well, anyway, next time you open it, check and see because now I know 3 people who have a 1010 LT. Not one of them using it. Amnon has one sitting in the box. You have one in the box, and a guy named Ken Carnes actually got his for free. A guy gave it to him, and he said he and another guy were unable to get it into the PCI slot.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Maybe they're trying to put in a PCIe slot.
No, he said they can't. He might, but the other guy would not. And what I tend to find sometimes is that it's often possible that the bracket is off on the card, or maybe the motherboard needs to be loosened and slid just a small fraction of an inch away from the back of the case so that they will fit in there.
And look who it is.
Good morning.
Interesting. Hello.
So Mike, can you go a little bit more into this card? What does this card do? If somebody's
I
interested
have
in this card.
4 stereo ins, 4 stereo outs.
What does that mean? Stereo via what? XLR, quarter inch?
No, RCA,
Oh, okay.
which is, and a lot of people disagree with me on this, and I don't care, they can be wrong. But I prefer an RCA 10-to-1 over an 1/8 inch mini plug. To me, it's a more robust connector. There's more metal in it. It's just a better connector.
I think plus they're easier to come by.
Not anymore. You can get them all, but I mean,
Well, no, but I mean, like for me, if everything was RCA input on my computer, I'd have a million inputs because I would just
Right.
keep them up. The problem is I've got to buy adapters and others.
No, we don't use adapters. We get a soldering iron and learn how to make our cables.
I'm stupid, so I'm not doing that.
Well, but what I am saying is that with this 1010 LT card, which all of my computers have them, what happens is, for example, I've got it can get complicated, and I admit that, but even I, for example, have this sheet that shows where all the Gazentas and comes out as go to. And what happens is that the right is the computer on the right and the left is the computer on the left. And Nick saw this last night because he and I were on a Skype call, and he said that my mix minus was not working. I grab my trusty sheet, pick it up here, and I look and see that the Skype on this computer that I'm talking on now uses line 3.4 on the 1010 card. What it means is that aux2 on my mixer is feeding line 3.4 on the card, which means that line 3.4 is selected in Skype. I can go in Skype and decide whether I want to use line 1.2, line 3.4, line 5.6, or line 7.8. And if I wanted to use SPDIF, I could make it actually 5 pairs, but I don't use it. I could. I've got an external adapter. I can actually bring and send. I can actually have 5 stereo audio pairs going into the computer and coming out of the computer. So what that means is, like whenever I was doing Rick's show, and this will be hard to follow, but it'll give you a broad idea of what I'm able to do with this card because of all the audio ins and outs that I have available. For example, on the computer I'm on now, the right computer is channel. If I want to make a phone call and bring a phone call into the Hangout, then I use Blink to make a phone call, a SIP phone call. It shows up on channel 11 on my board, which is line 1.2 on the card, and it comes fed audio from aux4. Again, I'm not expecting you to be able to follow that, but that same setup is then replicated for each channel. I am now, for example, sending audio to the you guys are hearing my audio come back on aux2, which is going into line 3.4. If I wanted to send stereo audio to either my recorder on this mixer, or if I wanted to send it to a something like Source Connect or TeamSpeak, then I would send it to line 5.6. And when I want to have a secondary Skype account open on this same computer, then I send it to line 7.8 and then listen back. What that was used for is whenever I was doing Rick's House and we had Brad Staggs as a co-host on Skype, Brad was coming in on line 7.8 on this 1010 card, and I would pot up channel 6, his audio is there, and he would hear me coming back through auxiliary 3. That's all done on one computer. I mean, so what that means is I can take a phone call, I can talk over Skype, I can send audio to record or to a stream such as TeamSpeak Server or Source Connect, and I can also have a second Skype caller on that same computer, all with independent controls. Have I lost everybody on that?
No. Well, you see, Mike, the nice thing that you have that I don't is you've got, how many computers do you have that you can pull audio from? 3 or 4?
3 right here. Well,
yeah, that's nice.
Laptop. And 5.6 if I wanted to stretch it, but
like my big problem with doing all this extra stuff with Skype is I don't have any more. I can't. First of all, I don't have the screen real estate to do everything.
Why? It takes 2 monitors.
Not if you're doing a video podcast and you've got Skype full screen on one for your co-host, your Wirecast full screen for your switcher, you've got your web browser. You run out of room.
Well, I'm not doing video, but
no, I know.
So I mean, again, but what's interesting now? I'll go through. I don't want to go to the same detail, but for example, on the second computer where I have a 1010 LT, channel line 1.2 is the mono feed that I would send to Skype for the radio station in Tennessee. Line 3.4 is a stereo feed, so that again I can either stream it in stereo or record it locally in stereo on that machine. Line 5.6 is the Skype connection that I used to use to Rick, that he comes in on 5.6, and 7.8 is a mono feed that I can use for TeamSpeak or whatever, or I could use it for a second Skype. So I could have 4 simultaneous Skype connections going at one time, each with its own mix minus and each with its own independent output.
So you can do that.
Yeah, but here's what's interesting about it, and then I'm done with this. What's interesting about it is if your motherboard will let you, you can plug 2 1010 cards into the same motherboard and do it all on one computer.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting here right now with my i7, the older i7, with video and audio and everything that's going on. My CPU's at 25%. If I weren't doing video, I could do all this at one time, and my CPU would probably still not be over 21%.
What's the card width for these cards?
PCI, full size PCI.
4, 8, 16?
PCI, not Express.
Oh, okay. PCI, regular PCI cards. Okay.
Yeah, and that's why it's a dying thing, because fewer and fewer boards have PCI slots in them, although they are still readily available if you know where to look and what to ask for. It's just a wonderful solution. So when I sit down here now, I could be set up for Rick's show using all 8 of these things at one time. I could be set up for it in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, it's nice that you have that.
Well, Merle has it, but he's chosen not to use it. Amnon has it, but he's chosen not to use it.
I don't have a slot.
That's your problem. Get one.
What? Get one.
Go get some
I didn't
duct tape.
say slut. I said slot.
Whoa.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Whoa. Family
By
friendly
the
show
way,
here.
by the way, 2K voice is fixed. All I had to do is unplug and plug all the USB plugs that go in it, and one of them fixed it. And Tim Barber, the phone is working.
Interesting.
Thanks for the info.
Mike, what would be the equivalent product or cost to do what you're doing on a standalone dedicated product?
Well, I don't know. I don't understand what you mean, because
I mean, the capabilities that you have there for the switching and feeds that you have, could that be done in an external platform?
I don't know how. I mean, by putting the sound card in. I mean, let me answer it this way. The benefit of this arrangement is to get the audio into and out of the computer. The computer functions, i.e. Skype, i.e. Mixler streaming. So a standalone box, maybe this is what you're asking. If you've got an old dual core computer that you're not using, that's plenty fast to do all of this with audio only. If you don't get into video, the dual core computer, I still do a lot of my audio on a Pentium 4. And even though I have the same utilities on another computer, an i7, the difference in performance for audio is negligible. So the answer to your question is, if you've got an old dual core computer lying around somewhere, or a Mac, which is old technology you bought new, but if you got you'd have to have a Mac Pro. But if you had an old that has a PCI slot in it, then you could create a dedicated audio streaming computer for the cost of the card. Now, and Merle made a good point that you got to have a bunch of cables, but I make my own cables, and for the most part, or if you don't want to make them, they're not that expensive if you use the HOSA cables from Amazon. Just buy the right ones. But I mean, I got more cables than you can imagine. So
talking about cables, I was gonna call you this week and say I'm gonna order some cables from Monoprice. Do you want anything? But then I went and I was looking for it looks like they're not variety, but their
selection
is down to nothing.
Yeah. Well, they may have recategorized them, but I will tell you this, and a lot of people disagree with me, but I've not had any Monoprice cables that I'd give you a nickel for.
Well, I mean, most of the ones that I have are, and they're fine.
I just bought some HOSA cables from Amazon, and they are cheap cables, but they work. They're still nickel-plated connectors, and the tolerances are good on them. So while they're not premium cables, they're fine for internet broadcast.
Oh. I think we need to start a new show.
And call it
about streaming and audio and all that, because apparently there's
podcast
a lot
on podcasting.
The what?
A podcast on podcasting. What a novel idea.
I mean, there's a lot of information that's flying here, and too bad. Not many people that are into it are listening to this. I mean, the information that you're getting here from Mike, from Merle, from Nick, I mean, it's priceless.
Well, but people don't want to hear him, non. They already
Yes,
know
they
everything.
do. Yes, they do want to hear
Hey.
it because you know how many people are trying to get in touch with you and get you to help them. Well, here they could sit and watch and learn a lot of other things. I mean, this is and I'm not saying it as a
Well, I can tell you it's not going to happen.
no, I know.
If for no other reason, people like to just commiserate over what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, that's how you get people's attention when they try to do something and they can't get it to work. Then their interest peaks.
Let me give you an example here.
Oh.
I'm just gonna give you some examples of what this. And we're talking about podcasting versus internet broadcasting. The people who do internet broadcasting live typically are a few steps higher in the IQ range. But there's something a guy posted in Facebook a couple hours ago. I'd like to get your thoughts on this. I'm launching a new show in 2015 and putting together the infrastructure now. For the domain, should I go with shownamemedia.com or shownamepodcast.com? My initial thought was the podcast choice, but who knows what direction the medium will take. What are your thoughts? Who cares? And he's got how many responses? He's got 7 responses to it already. Second question. Get this. Now, I'm just going to read it verbatim. Hi, all. Has anyone found a way to record Skype calls on a Windows PC since Skype got nasty with third-party software like Pamela? It's very frustrating. You don't know how to record a Skype call? I like this answer. I use a recorder.
What do they mean? What are they talking about when they talk about the third-party software?
I just read to you exactly what the question was.
Mike, if I have a computer that has Skype on it, like a laptop that I carry with me, and I want to record a call, I don't know how to do it.
Total Recorder.
Oh, the Windows recorder.
No, Total Recorder. $17.
There, you see? So,
But you've lived through the pain of discovering that and standardizing on it, where other people don't know.
There are 100 other ways to do it. Although the problem they're dealing with, and this is interesting for anyone who still tuned in and paying attention to what we're talking about, but there are several third-party applications. One of them, I believe, is called Pamela, and there's another one called, I forget what all the names are, but they were hooked into Skype some way, and Skype changed when they forced an update, they broke a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's one called iFree Skype Recorder, another one called MP3 Skype Recorder, but some of those broke. But Total Recorder does not depend on Skype. Total Recorder installs what are called virtual drivers, where they actually insert themselves into the operating system. So Skype doesn't even know they're there, and they don't. So far, I've had no negative impact on any of my computers, and I have Total Recorder for each one of them. It's one of the programs that when I set up a new computer, I get that. I buy that for each computer. But for example, right now, I'm going to hit the record button. Testing 1, 2, 3. This is a recording. Now, Amnon, you say something.
I'm saying something. So is it going to record me?
All right. Then what we do is go back here, and all I have to do is put that up and testing 1, 2, 3. This is a recording. Now, Amnon, you say something.
I'm saying something. So is it going to record me?
Piece of cake, right?
Works.
So, Mike, how did you find out about this?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I've been using it over 10 years.
But at some point, you had that same painful experience.
No, I'm really smart.
Are you kidding, Mike? Problems?
Oh, no, people, and all joking aside, the way you get smart is you go out and make every mistake and then learn from it.
Yeah. You just have to look at these people asking what seemingly dumb questions that they just haven't had enough pain yet.
Well, so you're trying to interject common sense into this discussion, and a lot of these questions aren't guilty of having any common sense behind them. I mean, I understand people wanting to learn and get started. I've helped numerous people, but I mean, good Lord. I mean, what do you do with these guys when they ask a question, particularly in a Facebook group, and they ask a question that has been discussed with 27 responses, and it's only 4 below where they posted their question? I mean, that's just
believe me,
insane.
having been in tech support and
Yep.
product support for all those years, you get people just too lazy. They'll call you, "What's the answer to this question?" So if you look at read the manual, well, I don't have time to do that. What's the answer to this question?
Here's another good example. Guy asks the question. I guess it's a guy, maybe a girl.
Time out. Spence, did you send the file?
Did I send what?
The file, the
file.
specials?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
Someone says, I'm going to be launching a new podcast in the next few months that might require me to have up to 6 people in the same room recording off the same mixer at a given time. Currently, I have an Alesis Multimix 4 USB that I love. I know the obvious solution is to upgrade to a 6 or an 8-channel mixer. Financially, that's not in the cards right now. I was thinking of getting a few XLR splitters so I can run up to 4 mics off my channel 1 and 2 inputs. I'm wondering if I do this, will the sound quality degrade since I'll have 2 inputs into a single channel? Has anyone tried this? Well, here's the answer to this guy's question, and the frustrating part about it. No professional would ever do what this guy is questioning. Anyone who knows anything at all about audio would never recommend it. And here's why. For starters, he didn't say if he's using condenser microphones or if he's using dynamic microphones. If he's using condenser microphones, that means that creating a Y adapter to go into one XLR input would have to share the phantom voltage between the 2 microphones. It's unknown whether the mixer can supply enough power to power both phantom microphones. That's number one. Number two, what if they're both dynamic microphones? Are the 2 microphones identical? If they are identical, how low is the output impedance of each microphone? Because when you connect a microphone into the mixer input, it sees a high impedance input for the mixer, which by design. If you parallel 2 microphones, now you've got what's plugged into that input is a low impedance microphone seeing a low impedance microphone, then going into a high impedance input. What that may do is it would cause the probably signal degradation because one mic is loading the other microphone. Would it work? Sure, it can work. The other part of the problem is what if there is a condenser microphone and a dynamic microphone? The condenser microphone will be so much louder than assuming it works, will be so much louder than the dynamic microphone that you probably will not even be able to hear the dynamic microphone. But the be-all to end-all is sometimes, even after you learn and understand all that and spend half a day explaining it, people go out and do it anyway. They plug it in and it works fine. There are just too many variables out there to say, yes, you can, no, you can't. Gordon Firemark, he's a trademark and copyright attorney out in Los Angeles. Smart guy says, your sound will suck if you use splitters. That generally, as a rule, is true. But some of these people say, well, I'm going to do it anyway. They go do it and it works fine. It works fine for 2 reasons. Sometimes it just works fine, and sometimes these guys can't hear the difference, and it's okay with them. They really ought to be. If I had 6 people in a room, if I didn't have a room big enough for each person to have his or her own mic, to which I refer you to whatever this thing is that Leo Laporte does, Nick Laporte does, out at Twit, whatever, just listen.
Yeah.
That Leo does where he has a bunch of people sitting around the conference table.
Oh, okay. Twit.
Yeah. He has a show that he does around the conference table. I don't know what that is.
That's Twit, This Week in Tech.
Okay, so that's the name of the show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But again, he has nice microphones. They're very directional. They're dynamic microphones, which means the pattern is conducive to that sort of arrangement. but most importantly, the table is big enough that people can spread out and not be sitting in each other's laps. Otherwise, the room is big enough that he doesn't have a lot of acoustic problems too, so it works for him. But the answer to the question is, if you're going to waste your time and get a lot of people involved doing a podcast, I mean, the mixer that Nick has, you can get for $350 now, $375. And that mixer has at least 6 mic inputs. It may be 8 or more. I don't remember how many
no,
of them.
this one has
10.
Yeah, 10.
So that will be more than enough to do what the guy wants to do.
10
And if he's
mics
gonna
and
have-
then two of those channels, which if he had a smaller mixer, like that Multi-Mix 4 or whatever, you could get another 2 mics on that or 4 mics on that. And
We only need 6.
No, but what I'm saying there is, yeah, it's got 10 mic inputs, and then it's got 13, 14, 15, 16. And I know
Right.
you don't like doing this, and you probably wouldn't recommend this, but if he's got, what did he say, Multi-Mix 4
Right.
with four more XLRs?
It only has a total of 4 as far as I
So
know.
then you mic up 4 more mics and throw that into one of those inputs. I mean, there's the date, Mike. I know you don't agree with this, but I don't think daisy chaining is the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, well,
if
I
you do it, if you do it properly.
Well,
If you do it properly, I think daisy chaining can work, but you have to know what you're doing. You can't go on a forum, ask somebody what to do, and just set it up. If you understand I believe I could successfully daisy chain 2 mixers together because I know what I'm doing.
I agree, but and it will work, and most people will not hear the difference. The problem with daisy chaining 2 mixers is that the signal to noise ratio is compromised by a factor of 2 to 1, assuming that it's the same as both. You will pick up additional noise. Most people will not be able to hear it. A professional could hear it.
Okay.
All right. So, Spence, do we have specials?
Yes, sir. We do.
All right. I put the file there.
Oh, you want me to talk about them too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everybody
Are we
ready
ready
for everybody ready for Spencer to do that?
I'm ready.
Okay.
All right. Well, as you would expect, the after Christmas specials are. It's kind of interesting to see what they put up on sale. It's a little bit different from the usual pile of stuff that shows up just before the holidays, but we're trying to find unique items, and in this week there's really not anything unique out there, at least not in the ads that we look at. But there are still some good computer deals out there. So we start with Office Depot Office Max. They've got an Asus T100 2-in-1 laptop computer / tablet. This is a 10.1-inch machine, 2 gig of memory, 32 gig internal storage, $279, save $50. They've got a Samsung Chromebook. This is with the let's see, Exynos 5 processor, and it's got 11.6-inch screen, 16 gig of memory for $199. It's 50 off the regular price. Also got an HP Pavilion i7 laptop. Well, I should say this is a 17 laptop. Take that back. It's got an AMD quad-core A8 processor. This is a true quad-core for physical processors. $429 with $200 off, $150 instant rebate, and $50 mail-in rebate. This is a Windows 8.1 machine, 17.3-inch screen. And this was, I thought, a really good deal. This is the cheapest Windows 8 tablet that you can find out there. HP makes 2 of these under the Stream brand name. One is a 7-inch and one is an 8-inch. This is the 7-inch one, 32 gig of storage, Windows 8.1, $99, which is pretty amazing for a Windows 8 tablet. So how they produce the hardware and also cover the licensing costs. I guess Microsoft has finally gotten the idea that they actually have to make software available cheap to sell these inexpensive devices. Now, I don't know if this is a crippled version because they call it Windows 8.1 with Bing. Now, does that mean that it's a different version than standard 8.1 or what was RT? So we'll see. Amnon, would you buy me one of these so I can test it?
Of course.
All right. All right, good. Well, let me have your credit card number when we're done. We've got an HP Pavilion desktop with a Core i3. It's a Windows 7 machine. So if you still want to pick up a Windows 7 machine, they are a little more expensive than 8.1 machines, and I think that's because of the licensing for the operating system. I know recently someone's machine I was working on, a Lenovo machine, he actually had to pay a premium to have the machine downgraded from 8.1 to 7. That was $50 extra. So it's very interesting. So this is $429, which is $60 off. Nice desktop machine. The HP 20-inch LED monitor for $89.99. That's $30 off. Samsung 24-inch LED monitor for $139.99. That's $60 off the regular price. And lately I've been paying more attention to inkjet printers, having gone through a uncomfortable experience with my Kodak inkjet. I'll talk about that when I'm done. But in researching now, looking at inkjet printers and looking for reliability mainly, back to HP again. And HP was always, you pay a little more. But in a lot of cases, it's worth it because the ratings on the HP, especially the HP Envy, if you're looking for a good photo printer, kind of general purpose home printer, these are very highly rated, and that's more than one source I've been checking. HP Envy, this is the model 4500, $79.99, save $20. That's a wireless print and copy. They've also got the HP Envy 5530, which is a wireless print, copy, and scan for $99. That's $30 off. Epson Expression Premium XP 620 printer. This is a high-end home use printer, $99. That's $50 off. Logitech G620 wireless gaming mouse, $59.99, save $20. And the Logitech G105 gaming keyboard, that's $39.99, save $20. This is a really good price on a USB 3.0 flash drive. Lexar USB 3.0 16 gig for $9.99. That's 15 off. 32 gig for $17.99. 64 gig for $34.99. And that is it for Office Depot Office Max. At Staples, we have a good deal on paper. It's Staples multi-purpose paper, 8.5 by 11 reams of paper, 10 in the case, for $9.99 after rebate. Save $44 off the regular price. They've got a Samsung C410W color laser printer. It's half price. It's $114.99, save $115. And I'd be interested to hear from someone with a late model colored laser as to whether it prints the same kind of resolution as you would get on a photo inkjet printer. If it handles small paper well. HP Envy 5530. This is the same machine that I mentioned at Office Depot Office Max. Wireless all-in-one, $99, save $30. We've got the Logitech K400 wireless touch keyboard with the built-in glide pad. No need for a mouse. $24.99, save $15. We've got a Western Digital My Passport portable hard drive, 1 terabyte for $69.99, save $10. 2 terabyte for $99.99, save $30. Got an Asus laptop with Intel processor, Windows 8.1. It's a 15.6-inch machine for $249.99, save $150. Logitech illuminated keyboard for $49.99, save $30. Western Digital MyBook desktop hard drive, 3 terabytes for $119.99, save $10. 4 terabytes for $139.99, save $30. We've got a Dell AMD A6 laptop, 15.6-inch screen, $200 off, $349.99. Samsung 24-inch LED monitor for $139.99, save $80. And again, a Windows 7 machine, and the prices are a little bit higher, and I think you're just paying a premium for that Windows 7 license. But Asus desktop PC Core i5, 8 gig of memory, 1 terabyte hard drive, $499.99. That's $150 off the regular price. And this is a useful device. I know some people that have this. Dual port plug and play Android device USB flash drive. And what this is it's got the mini USB on one side and a standard USB on the other side, so you can use it with your Android phone or Android device, Android tablet. 16 gig for $11.99, save $23. 32 gig for $19.99, save $50. 64 gig for $49.99, save $50. That is at Staples. And finally, at Best Buy, we have, bear with me a second here as I scroll properly here. We have at Best Buy, we've got the 8-inch version of that HP Stream Windows 8 tablet, $149.99, save $20. Got a Lenovo Android tablet. This is the S850 tablet, 16 gig of memory for $149.99, save $50. If you need an inexpensive bundle for web browsing and so on, this is a Acer Aspire desktop with a 19.5-inch LED monitor, $299.98, save $80. We've got an HP 15.6-inch AMD E1. This is an entry-level PC, but very popular. I actually have a version of this, $229.99. We've got a Lenovo 15.6-inch AMD A6 quad-core laptop, $299.99. A Toshiba Satellite Radius. This is a convertible laptop / tablet. This comes with a Celeron processor and 11.6-inch display for $329.99, save $20. Seagate Backup Plus 5 terabyte external USB 3.0 drive, $159.99. That's incredible. That's $40 off. 5 terabytes for $159.99. And we've got the Western Digital MyCloud 4 terabyte personal cloud storage drive. It's really a network attached storage drive with software, so you can get to it remotely. $199.99, save $20. Western Digital My Passport Ultra 1 terabyte external USB drive, 3.0, $69.99, save $30. If you don't have one of these for your laptop at this price, you really need to go out and get a good backup drive, as well as other backup methods. But these are really easy to use. Plug it in. It'll just go ahead and do backups automatically. I have several of these running on machines. Seagate Backup Plus 2 terabyte external USB 3.0. This is a portable for $99.99, save $30. And we've got a PNY 32 gig USB 3.0 flash drive for $14.99, save $45 off the regular price. And finally, nice upgrade for your sound system. Logitech Z506 5.1 surround speakers, a 6-piece set, $59.99, save $40 off the regular price. And that is all at Best Buy. And that is it.
That's it.
That is it. So just quickly to talk about inkjet printers. I know we've talked in the last few weeks about making sure you turn off your, or don't turn off your printer. A lot of them now have self-priming cycles that they'll go through on a regular basis to keep the print heads from drying out. This is a real problem with some printers. And I ran into it with my Kodak. I've had it, I have to say, I went back to check, and I did buy it, or it was given to me actually in 2012. And I've been using it on and off ever since, and it worked pretty good. And then there were times when I would keep it turned off for extended periods of time, the last time being away for 6 months for the summer. I came back and it would not print some colors. So I realized now that I probably dried out the print head, tried to renovate it, wouldn't work, tried cleaning cycles and so on. So I bought a new print head, which was reasonably priced. So I think it was like $25. Replaced the print head, put new ink cartridges in, worked good for about 2 weeks, and then black just stopped working, just dead, nothing. And went online, did some research. It turns out that they have some type of flaw in the technology, either in the print head itself or in the printer. That's been showing up. And they, if you're out of warranty, the only thing they offer you is to sell you another print head and ink cartridge combo. And I'm thinking, well, this is a flaw with the machine itself. This is not a user operator issue. because it's a new printhead. Stopped working. So my decision was not to spend that $59 or so on their bundle, but to go out and buy a new printer.
And which is the one that broke?
It's the Kodak C310.
Yeah, I wouldn't be buying anything with Kodak's name on it. I don't.
Well, at the time, it was a gift, and it was
Sure.
looking for a good, inexpensive supply printer, and they do have inexpensive ink
And
cartridges.
if you
but-
buy these cheap printers, you might as well look at it as a 1-year purchase, because you might get 5 years out of it, but you might not get over a year either.
And that's exactly right. That is you really need to look at it that way. So the next printer I buy is going to be one of these HP Envy machines, because I've been checking ratings and they're just better than any other printer in its class that I can find. A little more expensive, but worth it. So I'm going to try the one I want in particular is out of stock on Amazon now. I want the newest model, and I think it's the 5630 Envy, but I'm going to go with that.
I bought my daughter. My daughter's in law school. I bought her a Brother laser that prints on dual-sided automatically to save on paper, and I've heard great things about it. I'm not that impressed with it. Of course, I'm used to commercial HP printers. You're not going to get a $5,000 printer for $189. I get that. But it works and it's okay. But for some reason, she still wants to come over here and print on my printer here. I've got the one I'm using is a Dell color laser. I forget which model.
Yeah, I'm really
5100.
interested in, I think it was the Samsung laser that was in the specials. It's a color laser.
Mm.
Whether you can actually get the same resolution or close as you would get with a photo inkjet.
I don't know. Mine's a business laser. It does a good job, but I mean, I buy the cartridges on eBay because I mean, this was discontinued a long time ago, and a new set of cartridges for it from Dell's like $400. Uses 4 cartridges. I get them brand new old stock off eBay for typically $25 a color.
That's
And
nice.
I've only replaced 2 cartridges. I've had it in probably 4 years.
I've had good luck with my Brother lasers, not so much with inkjet, but I've got
Yeah.
2 lasers. I've got a laser fax copier
Yeah.
printer and a dedicated laser.
Yeah, inkjet needs to go away.
Yeah, it really is not a good technology for casual use.
You're talking about office supplies. I've advocated before that if you need a case of office copy paper, that if you're willing to do it, you can save some money by buying off of Craigslist, because people get all these various coupons and company benefits, and they go in, they'll buy paper, and they'll get it sometimes for $10 or $50 or free. A lot of times they get it free. And the going price on Craigslist is $20 per 10 ream case, pretty much all the time. While you were doing the specials, I looked it up, and the price has gone up. These guys are now getting $25 for a 10 ream box. Although there is still a guy in Greensboro who has 10 ream cases for $20 if you happen to be going through there. I don't use nearly the paper I used to use, but when I buy it, I sure don't like paying $40 for a box of paper, which I won't.
So that Staples deal for $9.99 for 10 reams is a really good deal.
And is that
It's multi-purpose. Let me open it up. Let me get it wider here. Tell you which stuff it is.
let's
It's
see what
their-
these guys will do. They'll go buy a bunch of that and then offer it for $20. That's doubling
Right.
your money if you don't mind the hassle.
I think it says limit four cases per
Yeah, I probably it's for $9.99.
$9.99.
I'm gonna have to go do that.
Yeah, I could use some more too. I'm down to my last ream.
Problem is finding a place to store it. So anyway, that's good to know. I missed that part. I heard you say paper. I didn't hear the price. Getting back into the podcasting thing, Nick and I were chatting about his new site, Radar Gaming. We did some testing yesterday because Nick is setting up for some pretty snazzy things to do from his website for people to be able to listen to his show in real time. And we did some testing yesterday using the Mixlr embed. The theme that he was using for his website was not friendly mobile. Why don't you tell us what you did, Nick?
So it was interesting. The theme, I bought the theme. I started Radar Gaming back in 2010, and that's when I bought this theme. And the theme was just not very well made. So it was mobile friendly, but it wasn't shrinking everything properly. It wasn't scaling everything. So the theme itself, it wasn't a whole page where you have to tap to zoom in. It would condense everything, but it wasn't scaling everything. So I went and installed a new theme, and that's now working a lot better. But the big thing that the reason I was talking to Mike last night was because I'm trying to figure out the best way to stream audio, because I know there's people that Saturday mornings people may be out and about, and listening to the audio live maybe was previously something that I didn't bother doing because I didn't have a good solution for it. So we looked at Mixler, we looked at Shoutcast and Icecast, and I mean, Mike, what do you think is the best option? You still think it's Mixler?
Well, it depends. I'm a Mixler fan. I'm probably the first one in podcasting to ever use Mixler, and as a result, I've got a relationship with the guys. They've been very good to me. But as far as pure audio bandwidth is concerned, it's really hard to beat. For example, I turned Dave Jackson onto it for his, I have to think of the name of it. Ask the Podcast Coach. He does a live show on Saturday mornings called Ask the Podcast Coach at, I forget what his website is. I'll have to think about it. But anyway, he started broadcasting it on Mixler, which has a chat room associated with it. And he's one of these guys who thinks that everything should be done from his website and not from other places. Well, for some reason, as far as I know, I haven't investigated it that thoroughly, but instead of embedding the Mixler player on his website, he gives out the Mixler direct link. So when I would listen to it, I used to listen to it, and I would go there, and he's using Mixler. He's tried to get away from Mixler. He's using Spreaker and some others, yet a lot of people still tend to listen to the show. My information is at least a couple of months old, but that we're listening to it on Mixler. So it's a friendly app, and it works well. The problem with Mixler is that there is no organic audience. People, if you just broadcast on Mixler, you're not going to have people just randomly tune in and listen to your show. You have to drive the audience to the stream, which is fine. I don't find a problem with that. The Blog Talk Radio has some organic audience built into it. Certainly, there's several that do, but for the most part, you have to drive your own audience anyway. But it's 128K. You can broadcast up to, what was it, 1 hour for free? No,
Yeah.
was that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
For $5 a month, you can do up to 3 hours per as many times as you want. So that means you could do a 3-hour show, stop it, do another 3-hour show, stop it. You could do 24/7 if you wanted to sit in front of it. Or for $20 a month, the account that I have, you have unlimited 24/7 broadcasting, which means that you could set up a loop. You could do your show and then let it play over and over and over and over again, so anyone who tunes in could listen to it in real time, kind of like what Amnon does. Now, Amnon is, as I recall, using NCH software. In fact, this is something I hadn't thought about, Nick, but Amnon is using NCH software to stream directly from G12.com, which means that if you go to G12.com and listen to this show being live streamed, that every stream is coming from Amnon's server, as opposed to if you go to Mixler.com and listen, it's coming from Mixler's server. You don't have to have the amount of the bandwidth times the number of users like Amnon does. But he's also broadcasting, as I recall, a 12K stream, whereas Mixler's 128K. And I'll tell you that I don't know if this is normal or whether they have me on a special deal, but the last time I used Mixler in May of last year and pulled the locally recorded file down, it was 192K. It's very, very high quality. Mixler will do everything you want it to do and more. Now, the others that we had looked into were Centovacast,
Well,
using.
now quickly, Centovacast is just the panel. Centovacast is not a service. It's
Right.
it's like a
It's
C
integrated
panel for
with-
Shoutcast.
Right, or IceCast.
Yeah. And now, Mike,
And-
I just found a website. Doing some googling. It's shoutca.st. And I'll post the link for that in chat. They are offering 20 gigs of auto DJ storage, which is
lot.
the auto DJ. You're familiar with that.
Yep.
Unlimited bandwidth, unlimited listeners, Centovacast, Shoutcast version 1, 2, or IceCast, and 320K per second max for $5 a month.
Well, as long as it works, that's good. I mean,
And they've also got a free account, which I'm going to sign up for right now, which is a 50 megabytes of auto DJ, which I don't care about, 2 gigabytes of monthly bandwidth, which is plenty, 30 concurrent listeners, Centovacast, and 96K max. And if I want to do 120K, it would be $2 a month.
yeah, and this for how much broadcast time?
It's just 2 gigabytes of monthly bandwidth, so as many listeners as you have that will eat up
But
2
what about the
gigabytes.
show length?
No, this is Centovacast. This is no show length. This is a
Okay.
Mixler. It's just as quickly as you can eat up 2 gigabytes of bandwidth.
Oh, I
Which,
see.
if you're streaming 96K and you've got 5 people listening, then
Yeah, I don't like getting into all that stuff because you can't control it. And
yeah.
But anyway, you know what? And this is the frustration I have with a lot of podcasters, and they say, "Oh, wait a minute, that's $10 a month." Well, you know, if you can't commit $10 a month to what you're doing, why are you wasting your time? You're trying to compete with Leo Laporte spends what, 50,000 a month?
Well, this is my thing, Mike, and this is where I'm having a hard time. I have no problem paying. I have no problem paying for. No, I know. I'm cheap. I don't want to pay for stuff. The problem is
too.
I would rather not put $5 a month into audio when I could put $5 a month into video. I just feel
I
like,
agree, totally agree. But
so that's
what
why I'm trying to find the cheapest free solution for doing the audio streaming, because I'd rather put $15 a month into hosting the video files or hosting the audio files rather than, I mean, realistically, how many people are going to listen to the audio only stream? I don't think a lot are, because it's a video show.
I agree, but you never know. If they're in a car or traveling or somewhere, they can't watch the video. It's illegal to watch a video if you're the driver in our state.
So right now I'm going to sign up for this. I'm signing up for this free service.
I
And
sign them up. I try them all out. I've got a list of a bunch of places I've tried out that are interesting in and of themselves, but they just don't seem to get it, or you just wonder if they're going to be around. Merle, going back to websites, we're looking at your website at mcprodnet.com, and I'm curious about, did you do all your own website work?
No, sir. Well, I mean that is a theme. So, I mean, as far as changing the parameters in the theme, I did that, but no, that is all just a $50 theme. I think that Brian Aldridge sent me a link to Theme Forest or whatever, and I found that, and it resolved the issue I was having with my old theme was somehow gobbling up all the bandwidth, so.
So this is the one this is a new theme as of how recent?
You remember when we was having all that trouble where I expended all my bandwidth? So about a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
no,
Yep.
so it's very new.
So it's very new. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And whoever makes this, I've already had like 4 updates. So the folks who do this are keeping up with it. So that's kind
Yeah,
of
the
nice.
Theme Forest stuff is good.
Yeah, and it was
Wow.
50 bucks.
And how much trouble was it for you to update to this theme? How long did it take you?
To update to the theme.
Well,
Itself?
and to get it in its finished state.
The theme took about 5 minutes really, but then to tweak it and get my graphics, it took probably about 2 hours.
So what is the podcasters and broadcasters out there who don't know how to do all this stuff? What are they supposed to do?
Well, that's a good question. That's why I found
I
you
know,
guys.
I only ask good questions, so go ahead.
What was I thinking? I mean, I found you guys literally by luck about a year ago. You know my story. I mean, I was dealing with all these snake oil salesmen. And no matter what you say, Mike, I've never paid for any podcast consulting. I promise you that.
Not
I
only
know-
does the boy skip church, but he starts lying and
Did he just call Cliff a snake oil
Snake oil
dealer?
I
salesman?
didn't hear him use his name.
I didn't throw any names out there. Now I will give props to some of their free videos. That's how I learned the basics about podcasting.
But are you a millionaire from it yet?
No, far from it. I lose
Well-
money on a monthly basis.
Well, then you're not
Well,
doing it right.
Then you're not doing it right.
But I mean, I do it more for a hobby, and
We're all we're all millionaires.
I know you are. That's why I hang out with you guys. They say surround yourself with people that you want to be. You
All right, go
Well,
ahead.
know. So I mean, I luckily found you guys, and you guys have nudged and pushed me. And if it wasn't for Brian Aldridge, this website wouldn't be up because I transferred from one service to another service, and he spent about 2 hours transferring it over. And I used to be tech savvy with all this crap, but you know, that was 10, 15 years ago. So I've needed help along the way. So I mean, you know, there's a lot. I mean, you know, we talk about this all the time offline about paying for help when there's a lot of people out there who are more than willing to help you for free. So I mean, you know, my site's not the best site in the world, but I mean, it was $50. So
Hey, welcome to the club.
I mean, I'm not just saying this because you guys are online, but I sincerely believe that both of these websites are very professional-looking websites. I mean, because what I've said before, and we'll see how it works out, is that there are so many absolutely god-awful, horrible podcasts out there that guys do 3 episodes and wonder why they can't live out of it because advertisers haven't knocked their doors down to get to their 4 listeners, including their mother. But the problem is that as the podcasting industry, if it is one, continues to evolve to include the professional broadcasters like radio people, former radio people, guys who are really, really good at what they do, like the Tom Merritts of the world, that's where people are going to listen. They're not going to be listening to little crappy podcasts here. But the way you get your foot in the door and try to entertain people to get them to listen to your newbie podcast, or your less than professionally produced podcast in many cases, is you've got to have a good internet presence. If you've got a crappy looking website, people are probably not even going to bother sampling your podcast.
Right. I would agree with that completely. And, you know, I mean, like I said earlier, I do this for fun. You know, and we don't do too bad. We get on an average 300 downloads a month, which, I mean, if you put 300 people in a room, that's pretty flippin' impressive. And
Yep.
I would not quit my day job, you know, to do this because I enjoy my day job. I mean, this is fun, and I meet people like you guys. So, I mean, that's why I do it. But, yeah, we laugh and talk all the time about these guys. I mean, nobody's making money with this, but
Oh, John Lee Dumas is making money.
Stop.
that's what he says. I mean,
Well, you know, never mind.
Hey, Mike. Mike, I need your help with Centovacast.
You need my help with Centovacast?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've used it. Did you ever broadcast to it from a client or no?
No.
Yeah, there's a place for the server information. I can't find it.
I'm told that you can do that, but you'd have to ask Brian.
No, I know you can. I set it up before, and now I don't.
Because what we're looking at doing, we're creating. I'm actually involved in a fairly exciting project.
Hmm.
If it pans out, and that project involves setting up a terrestrial radio network for North Carolina, and which I've already got it all worked out. But the benefit is that it will also be on the internet. So we'll see how it works out, but we're looking at using Centovacast streaming possibly for the streaming, or we may use Mixler. I'm not sure which one we're going to do yet. I'm playing with all of them. But the idea is that it will be at least 18 hours a day, possibly 24 hours a day. And what's going to be involved is that there will be a 2, 3, 4 hour per day live show initially. I mean, theoretically, it'd be nice if it were live from then on out. But it will be a live show that would be carried on numerous radio stations. But the rest of the time, it would be like-minded information that is broadcast with some sort of a play-out server. It's sequentially broadcast, not necessarily formatted to be top of the hour, bottom of the hour kind of stuff. Probably Rick's House would be on it, and who knows what other shows would be carried on it in addition to that local content. But we're investigating all sorts of servers and services to be able to do that. So whatever service we use, it has to be, well, let me back up a step. The Mixler would do what we want. The problem with Mixler is you have to originate the audio 24/7 from your studio.
Yeah, that's why that's probably not the best solution.
Right. But Centovacast, you can load your pre-recorded content onto the local drive to broadcast as a playout server whenever you're not going live. The question is, how do you tell Centovacast to receive your incoming IceCast stream, or the server to receive it? How do you switch between Centovacast and the? I don't know the answer to any of it.
So I've used Centovacast many of times now. It's just been a really long time since I've used it. And what it does is you start your auto DJ, and the auto DJ is, like you said, you throw media files on the server, and it's a playback server, and that's all it does. And then you create a DJ. So in this case, if Rick's House, you would create a Rick's House DJ.
Got one.
You would let his DJ be able to broadcast. You would allow his DJ to broadcast Saturday mornings from what time does the show start at?
It used to be at 8.
All right, so you'd allow him to start broadcasting maybe around 7:30. What time's the show run until? 8? Or what time's the show run until 10?
Now this is being asked of me by a guy who actually engineered the show himself on May 18th, 2013.
Okay, yes. Okay, so a year, over a year
good
ago.
Saturday morning.
It's 8 till 10, right?
8 till 10, right.
So you start him at 7:30, you kill him at 10:30, and then what he does is you click broadcast on your client, it cuts the auto DJ. Whatever is in auto DJ will just instantly be paused, and all of those live listeners will pick up the live feed, and then you stop broadcasting from your client, which in this case I'd use Butt or something like that, broadcast using this tool, the very small little applet, and then you stop your broadcasting, and bam, now your auto DJ kicks right back on where it was.
I will tell you, I'm not a big fan of this one yet.
Centovacast?
Yeah, it's
Very powerful, Mike.
It may be. I'm not saying it's not, but it's just not intuitive.
You're right. It's not. It's not easy to use. But
So I
it's
stopped the DJ, stopped the server. I left the server running all night, so I guess Brian won't get upset. If he does, he'll get over it. Servers, okay, we will stop the server. Yes.
Uh-oh.
What?
The internet is going to stop.
Oh no. So when you're doing your show live, recorded live, Merle, you're what, simulcasting on Ustream?
Well, yeah. I mean, we've never really advertised when we go live. It was we've been playing around with it, but yes, we basically send it to Ustream, and I actually record it on Ustream because it'll automatically upload it to YouTube for me. But I don't know. We may just go the audio route for a while. Subtract the video route.
Yeah, because I know it says here broadcasting live and recorded, and it shows your Ustream embed.
Yes.
Well, one other thing, then we probably need to wrap it up. I got a really interesting present for Christmas, and I was talking about it on the show last week. My wife went over to Best Buy and bought it, and it is the Grace Digital Mondo Internet Radio. When I first got it, I was a little concerned because you do a search for certain stations and it will find them, and other stations it would not find. Then I learned that you actually go to a website that connects to the radio. It allows you to set up channels that are not even available through their server. You can have it available to your local server, kind of like what do you call these Roku apps, Nick? They're the custom apps, or your own?
Yeah, just a custom app.
Okay, so anyway, it doesn't have to be approved by Roku. You can install it just on your own box,
Oh,
right?
it's a private channel.
Private channel. That's what. So you can, in essence, install almost anything you want as a private channel, which for that radio really makes no difference whatsoever. I don't care whether anyone else can listen to a little toilet radio station that I want to listen to 100 miles away. Set it up, worked great. It has a podcasting function in it that I can't figure out how to make it work. I tried 4 different podcasts, and it always say unable to start podcast. If you read the instructions on it, it says that you're using the wrong link. You need to use the direct link to the audio server, not they don't say XML file, but apparently they are not able to interpret the RSS. To me, that's a problem, because the RSS feeds are the way podcasts work, so that you can find new updated episodes without having to go in. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I hope to be able to find some help with it. They were closed over the holidays. I'll try to get up with them next week to see how that works. But I got to tell you, it's a neat little radio. For example, if you want to go on and the reason they call it a radio is because it has a selection on the menu that says local stations. You put in your zip code, and it then lists all of the stations within like a 50-mile radius. And let's say that one of the stations that I listen to is WTSB in Smithfield, because I helped them with some projects. And I mean, this is a little small town, old-fashioned, old-timey radio station. Typed it in, sure enough, there they were. So would you say, okay, let's listen to that station? You hit the button, it starts playing just as if it were a local radio, and I mean, the quality is internet quality. It's full bandwidth, and it acts like a radio, but it's actually getting the stream from the internet. I grew up, and Nick and I were talking about this past week. I grew up listening to AM radio, where I would listen to out-of-town radio stations at night, WABC, WGAR in Cleveland, WLS Chicago. So sure enough, I type in WLS on this radio. It brings up WLS. I hit the button, and there it is, jingles and everything, sitting here as if I'm sitting in Chicago listening to them on an FM radio. It's a slick little device. I hope they do some firmware upgrades so that they can receive XML files on the podcast. If they do that, it would be almost perfect. There's one other little function I haven't totally figured out, that I want it to be able to play one podcast or one file and then stop, because I use it to go to sleep. And if it doesn't have, there's actually a sleep timer you can put on it. And yeah, I used to listen to WOWO in Fort Wayne sometimes too. But so anyway, if I figure out a way to do that, that would be really neat. There is one other function I learned about. We don't have time to go into now. You guys have probably heard of it. I had not. It's called DLNA.
Mm-hmm.
And it's apparently been around since XP days, but I wasn't aware of it. But what happens is that you can create a server on your computer, and that server then broadcasts content, or the server broadcasts its availability over your local network at home. What that means is that I have a program called Media Monkey that has DLNA server capability built in, and so I started searching for other UPnP servers on my network as it's labeled on the radio, and sure enough, it found it. It even found one on my house I didn't even know was there. It's a Kodak server. But all you do is connect to that server, and now you have access to the content of that program. Now, there are a couple of reasons why it wouldn't work for me, because there is a problem with Media Monkey on Windows XP for version 4. It doesn't like the long URL that you have to use that includes the key for Dave Ramsey's My Total Money Makeover. It does work fine on Windows 7 and other versions. But anyway, on XP it doesn't work, and I don't know if they're going to fix it. So unbeknownst to me, I went out and randomly found a program that it's not working at the moment because I didn't install it as auto start. Oh, it's called Twonky Server, TWONKY, Twonky Server. When you install it on your computer, and it then gives any DLNA device on your network access to whatever you tell it to have access to. bottom line is I set up Twonky Server to give this unit access to the local folder where Dave Ramsey's podcast download. What all that means is now I can go to this Grace Digital Internet Radio, tell it to go to the UPnP server that has access to the folder, meaning I can listen to the Dave Ramsey podcast on the Grace Digital receiver that's playing off the hard drive on my XP computer where I use it to download. I mean, all that sounds complicated. If you've been involved with this stuff before, it all made sense. But all I got to tell you is technology is just getting even more amazing.
Yep.
And that's all I have.
All right. I wanted to mention something from last week that I didn't get to, but I think people probably need to know about. There were 2 articles about it that if you have Windows 7 set to automatically update every Tuesday, it may be to permanently disable that feature. It may be good to disable it. Microsoft has just confirmed that a recent update specifically, and write that down, if somebody put it in the chat, KB 3004394, KB 3004394, blocks the installation or update of graphics drivers such as AMD New Catalyst, Omega, NVIDIA user also reporting difficulty installing GeForce driver. And this article says, though I can't confirm this personally as my machines are all Windows 8.1, Hallock recommended manually uninstalling the update. I checked all my Windows 7 machines and none of them had it on. But if you read about it, people think that Microsoft is doing something to actually act like malware. Somebody called it a malware. So there it is, KB 3004394. If you have it, they said uninstall it. And you can go to the in Windows 7 to the installed ones and just sort them by name, and there'll be 2 or 3 sections that are alphabetized in there, and see if you have it. That's what I got. Tim S. I'm game if really I'm game if you are. So let's talk about it in email. There was something about Time Warner.
While you're thinking about that, Merle, why don't you go ahead and tell Doug on the air what you're talking about, because other people are going to be interested in it too.
Right. So, I mean, setting up the WordPress site that I have, I mean, literally was fairly easy. The hard part, like Mike said in the chat, the hard part was I converted it from one web server to another. So, I mean, that was a little difficult. So that's when someone actually helped me. But what I found, because I'm not a web person anymore, I mean, I started with Front Page, 20 years ago, and played with web pages, was, I mean, a good WordPress theme, I think, is the key to a good site. The problem I was having was the WordPress themes that I was initially using were the free ones. So there really wasn't a lot of good instructional documentation to go with. Telling you how to set it up or what this button did, what that button did. So I finally, these guys here, I mean, I'm cheap, but I finally spent the $50, and the WordPress theme that I had came with over 50 pages of documentation telling you how, all the features of the website worked. So for me, that was a big help. And the thing, and I don't know, tell me if I'm wrong, Nick, one of the things I noticed with these WordPress sites is they really look good when you put good graphics into them. I mean, without the graphics, it's just kind of a shell. So, I use GIMP figure out, the documentation again tells you what size is I guess ideal for the graphic, and then use GIMP. I create the graphic. So for me, I think, documentation and the graphics and getting good graphics up is what makes my site. Other than that, I mean, if you take away the graphics, it's kind of a lame site. But throwing those few graphics that I had made in GIMP, I think made all the difference.
Okay.
I don't know what he said. Where did I get the $50 for the instructions? I mean, it came out of my pocket. I work every day, so.
Those of you that travel, the FCC will soon decide whether to lay down rules regarding hotels' ability to block personal Wi-Fi hotspots inside their buildings, a practice that recently earned Marriott International a $600,000 fine. Back in August, Marriott business partner Ryman Hospitality, Ryman Properties and Trade Group, the American Hotel and Lodging Association, asked the FCC to clarify when hotels can block outside Wi-Fi hotspots in order to protect their internal Wi-Fi services. A lot of people are traveling and they go into a hotel and they have their own hotspot, and what the hotel gives you maybe slower, maybe crappier. That'll be, and they use their own hotspot to communicate. That would be a bummer if they can't do that.
Well, I can see their argument if it's their private property, why they can't restrict it.
I mean, I don't understand how having your own hotspot can damage their network other than their pocketbook.
Well, it depends on how many people have it. The coverage in hotels, especially ones that are built years ago for Wi-Fi, is very hard to get even coverage without making major modifications or adding a lot of equipment. So it could be just a leftover from having outdated Wi-Fi infrastructure.
I never use the hotspot. Does the hotspot have the same range as my home router?
Depends.
As far as wireless?
Typically, no, but they're more personal devices. They're not meant to be used by more than a few users. So the power tends to be low, but the standard says you can go up to full power. Nothing's stopping you. I guess it's just the manufacturer.
Okay.
But I can see their point to an extent. And if you want to go stay at a hotel, you do have to agree to the terms of the host, that you walk in the door and say, well, I want to stay here. So, oh, here's the conditions for your stay. You can't make a lot of noise. You can't set your room on fire. You can't do. I mean, there are things you just can't do. So if that's one of them, then, well, hey, find another hotel then.
Yeah, but how are they going to do that? I mean, other than setting up, like somebody said in the chat room, setting up a Faraday cage, how do you stop that?
Well, there is technologies for blocking
jamming.
It's essentially jamming.
Right, but I mean,
this has been around for a while there, and companies have had a way of doing this internally to stop people from using. For example, bringing in your own access point, plugging it into the company network. They can detect the wireless signal and zero in on it and literally just surround it with noise from the other access points nearby to jam it.
Well, didn't movie theaters run into an issue several years ago when they were talking about jamming cell phone signals, and it came to a safety issue about people, because I think 10, 15 years ago I heard some kind of noise about movie theaters wanting to jam people's cell phones so they wouldn't be going off during the movie.
Yeah, they don't allow it. It's in Japan, they actually do it all the time. They do it in stadiums. So you walk in the door and their cell phones don't work inside stadiums. They essentially just filtered out.
And there are actually
and this is the insidious part of it is they offer a private service if you want to subscribe to it. you can have your phone join their service and then order drinks things like that. This is kind of an interesting play on this, but
So, some of those jammers will jam everything, but will allow you to make outgoing calls. I've seen one.
yeah, still they're illegal in the United States.
Yes, they are.
Yep.
And they should be. All right. I think we can wrap it up.
Works for
Anybody
me.
has anything else to say other than On the Radar coming back?
I'm excited.
The most anticipated podcast of 2015 is coming back.
Yeah, that's what the rumors are.
Yep. All right.
Merle, it was good to have you join us. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah, thank you guys. That was fun.
Anytime.
Well, I appreciate it.
You're
Hey,
playing.
before I go, can I ask you guys a question?
You just
since I-
did. Would you like to try for another one?
No.
Two more.
All right.
Two more. Mike, you know I've been dealing with this, and I'll get your guys' opinion. I've been having an issue with some Microsoft applications like Internet Explorer. I know you guys say, why are you using it? I really don't, but it's on my computer. Or it was until I took it off last night. The Microsoft Media Player. I noticed PowerPoint. So I'm getting in my logs a ntdll.dll application error, and I know that's very generic. I have looked throughout the internet. Of course, I started going to Bleeping Computers. I downloaded some stuff. I thought, this might be a virus. So I ran, a couple different antivirus software packages. Did a couple other things. I went through an extensive memory check. I mean, I have done everything to try to rectify this situation, and nothing is working.
Are those applications not working?
Well, I mean, sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So I'll go to play a media file, which, again, I normally do not use, Microsoft products to play my media files. I mean, I use some free stuff that works better. But, I mean, sometimes I'll double-click on an audio file, and it'll spawn off the media recorder or whatever, that media player, and it'll die. I have the same problem with Internet Explorer. Sometimes, I'll bring it up. I'll go to like Computers 2K Now. It'll crash. And I'm getting all these errors in my application log, and it's pretty generic, and it's driving me crazy. I don't use any of the applications that keep crashing, but the fact that there's something wrong is driving me nuts, and I cannot figure it out. I've been working on this for about 2 weeks now.
Get a Mac.
Did when you say that IE is crashing, is it only certain sites that you go to that makes it crash, or is it an application that uses IE for graphics?
That's a good question. At first, I thought it was like graphics-intensive sites, like YouTube would bring up a video. So I thought it was, something to do with how they were presenting the video. So I went through all that. Every application that I have is updated. All my drivers are updated. So now it's just like when I launch Internet Explorer, it'll come up for a couple of seconds and then it just crashes. The same with the media player. I can just launch a generic media player. It'll come up for a couple of seconds and crash and give me that generic Event 1000 application error.
I'm fighting a problem for a client with a web-based accounting program that just 1 week ago just started having all kinds of problems. It only runs on Windows, on IE. It's an IE, essentially a web-based app, but suddenly it's just started getting the cannot load file error, and worked fine right up until a certain date. And I tried to figure out if there was an update, if anything changed, and they're not aware of anything, but just driving me insane, absolutely insane.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've done everything. I've Googled, and of course, some of the sites, they want you to buy their little reg cleaners. I'm not a big fan of registry cleaners because they do more nefarious things. I mean, Microsoft does a pretty good job of setting it up and it cleans up itself, but I cannot fix this problem and it's driving me crazy. I didn't know if you guys have ever heard anything, and I don't want to reload.
I'm going to tell you, you're going to spend more time troubleshooting it than it would take to reload your whole system.
It's Windows 7?
Yes, Windows 7 latest service pack.
I'll tell you why, Merle. Because what happens, and people that think that we're Windows fanboys are mistaken, because what happens is that something has everything on your computer may be the proper version updated, working perfectly. But sometimes things get installed in an order that was never tested or has not been designed to work that way. And many times what happens is when you rebuild the computer from the ground up, then you reinstall all your applications. It's very unlikely you're going to do it in the same order. And simply installing something in a different order than before can cause the problem to go away. I posted a link in chat, I also posted it to you in Skype, that has about 95% of what you need to do to solve an NTDLL.DLL problem. Sometimes you're not going to be able to solve it. What I typically do is one of two things, is that on that hard drive, is this a desktop?
Yes.
Typically what I do is I go buy a brand new hard drive and I start from the ground up, fresh, no question, just from the ground up, get everything working right. Then I reconfigure it, get everything I want in it. And if everything works correctly, I leave it. If I've got a problem with an application, of course, you do some testing in between before you add things. And if the build works, then you use it. If it doesn't work, then you know that you've got a misbehaving program or driver somewhere. It's a lot of work, but you've already said you spent 2 weeks on it.
I have. I spent a lot of time.
Yeah, that's a lot of time to spend for something like that.
Moreover, you could also, if you didn't want to do all that, you could go to the image you created of your hard drive 2 weeks ago, restore that image, and just update it from there.
Right.
Oh, wait, you didn't create an image 2 weeks ago.
True. I back up my data, but I don't do that.
I create an image for exactly this reason, because what you probably have is some registry corruption, or either you have a misbehaving driver.
All right.
The fact that it's showing a missing DLL is probably, and you say you didn't install any new software?
Oh, no, I've installed some new software. I'd have to go back and look.
Overwrite software, especially if it's older and it doesn't follow the installation. What do you call it? The program that the Microsoft installer, MSI, that Microsoft uses. If you follow the rules for using that, it's not supposed to affect any other software. But that doesn't mean that they do it right. It doesn't mean they use the latest version. The API that they provide for installation, some software just doesn't respect it.
If something got messed up, then the first thing that I would do is I would do an SFC/scan now.
I did that. That was one of the things they said to do, and it took about an hour, and everything came back normal.
Okay.
Never had it work.
All right.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, I'll keep you guys apprised of what I find out.
I really would consider getting a new hard drive and starting from scratch.
And you might find that there are things that you have installed that you don't need.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I do that. I go through every now and then. I look what I've installed and
right.
I haven't.
The problem, though, Merle, is uninstalling programs does not usually uninstall all the drivers, and the drivers are probably what are giving you the problem.
Right. Okay. I'll give that a whirl.
But I'd go get me a new hard drive, whether it's bigger or SSD. Do you have an SSD in it?
No.
How big is the hard drive in your C drive now?
It's huge. Let me see. What is it?
120 meg.
Yeah.
It's almost a terabyte.
All right, so you can get a 256 gigabyte SSD for $140 from Newegg on sale today. Install that. It is going to quadruple the performance of the computer if you have room to install the old drive as a second data-only drive. And you'd give that machine new lease on life.
Right.
Dr. John, we probably ought to go through some next show, maybe next week. We'll go through some ways to speed up your computer. I wrote a long email to a group on this, and there's some things out there that you really need to do. If you can't wait until next week, go to bleepingcomputer.com, BLEE. I'll type it in chat, and look for go into their forum, look for one of the subforums that talks about, am I infected? and you're techie, so go ahead and read through some of those things, and you will learn a lot about it. There are several programs there that you should run to deal with it. One is called ADW Cleaner. You download it from there, and it will clean out more junk from your computer than any other program. It is the top downloaded program for that crap on bleepingcomputer.com. The second most downloaded program is called Combo Fix, and I would
no Combo Fix. You really need to know what you're doing, or you can screw
Yes.
up your computer.
do not run Combo Fix unless you have an immediate image of that hard drive. I have only had it screw up one time. As far as I'm concerned, they've probably fixed the program so that it doesn't create damage. But if it damages it, you're toast.
They still warn you.
Yeah, you're warned. But there are other programs like Junk Cleaner and some others on there that TDSS Killer, Rogue Killer, Hitman Pro. These programs, they work. So far, they have not done any damage to any program. The only one I've had is Combo Fix. But what they also do at Bleeping Computer is you say it's running really slowly. Here's a problem. And what they'll say is, okay, download, install, and run a program called X. You download it. It'll generate a log file. Please post that log file in this form here. You post it, and these volunteers will read through that list and say, oh, you've got an old version of such and such, which is known to cause a conflict with the newer version of such and such, or you have a virus, or here's a program that, I mean, these guys look at it all day long, and they can look at it and give you an idea. The disadvantage is that it takes several days and you have to be patient. But if all you're dealing with is a slow running computer, that can help. The ultimate solution, if you've had viruses and had some residual damage on your computer, your best bet is to reinstall the operating system. I sort of have an aversion to doing that because I am one of those who would like to, I would prefer to find, I don't mind spending the hours finding a way to fix it because I learn from it. But for a lot of people, it doesn't make any sense to do that. On a mission critical machine, you should never rely on fixing it after you've been seriously hit with a virus. Part of it, I've never had a virus and I've had very limited malware, but it'd be even arguable as to whether it was malware. So I haven't had the damage that a lot of people have had. That's why I don't believe I've ever reinstalled. The only time I think I've ever reinstalled operating system is I had a computer crash from a hard drive and it toasted the operating system. I had to put a new hard drive in and reinstall it from there. But that's not the operating system's fault. So anyway, go there and check it out. And Amnon, that would be a good topic for us in future shows to talk about virus removal and cleanup.
Oh, absolutely.
For those people who don't
Get a Mac.
I mean, you know, Tim mentioned CCleaner, and I swear by that.
I do too, as long as you learn how it works and don't let it delete all your passwords and all of your cached files and saved histories that you want.
By default, it comes up unchecked. So
you check that again. It cleans out a lot. If you run the default, it's going to clean out stuff you may not want to get rid of, which is, if you're solving a problem, okay, maybe. But the other part of it is that the things that it eliminates, like your recent stuff,
right?
It doesn't take any space and doesn't cause any problem.
No, of course it doesn't take any space and doesn't cause any problem, except that most of the viruses that pop up on the screen will be in the temporary folder.
And if it cleans the temp files, that's not one of the ones I say to uncheck. The one I'm talking about is, for example, where you go to a website and it remembers your passwords, or if you have to tell it not to delete your password. The other thing that you can tell it it'll do it now, is it will do a smart cookie scan where it says, we realize there are some cookies that you might want to leave on Amazon, so that when you go to Amazon, it knows certain things about you and it will leave those there. And I have it set so that it does not wipe out everything such that it's a brand new browser. There may be times when you want to do that, but initially I don't. If I'm just doing maintenance, I don't want to have to go in and retype all my passwords. I don't want to have to go in and, for example, if I go to Amazon.com on this computer, I go to the browser, I type in AM, and it brings up the link for me to go to Amazon.com. the default configuration for CCleaner will wipe all that out. And again, there may be times when you want to wipe all that out, but as a general rule, for general maintenance, it's not necessary.
Right. To solve a problem, if you have a problem, delete everything. Now
Agreed.
don't tell it to delete your passwords.
Agreed.
Passwords are saved somewhere else.
Agreed.
But absolutely. And Dr. John, yesterday I spent all day almost working on a Windows 8 machine. Yesterday and Friday, that ran through all the programs that I'm used to, and there was still something left there that would come up. Nothing really bad, just like ads. And the way that I knew that it's not part of the page is on Delta Force. I got something about zombie news. So I went looking, and it had all kind of information, how to download this, download. And I said, I need to try that super anti-spyware again. I ran it, and it found 7 more, and 2 of them were Trojans. And it cleared it, and everything was fine. I used Security Essentials. I used Defender. I used Malwarebytes. I can't even remember. I mean, there was a list of programs that I used to clean it, and every time I was sure that it's cleaned, something popped up again. And Super Anti-Spyware took care of that. So you have to use multiple ones. I mean, I had it on my stick there, but never really used it for the last 6, 7, 8 months.
Do any of you guys run the Glasswire that you can download from Bleeping Computer?
The what?
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's called Glasswire. I installed it because I thought initially the problems I was having may have been from some adware or a Trojan. So what it does is it basically monitors your network traffic going out, and so it shows you who you are actually sending information to. It runs in the toolbar. I mean, it's a really nifty little program that kind of shows you, who you're talking to.
The Komodo firewall that I use does the same thing. Remember, every one of those little nifty tools that you have in the bar takes resources and slows down your computer.
I have never found an application or recommendation for Bleeping Computer that I differed with. I mean, that's how good these guys are. So, and what you're saying is correct, Amnon, but my comment to that would be, if you find yourself building up a bunch of these things and filling up your taskbar, that you consider getting rid of all that crap and go to Bleeping Computer and follow their recommendations and come up with a really clean system.
Oh, I always go down to the minimum. One of the first things I do on computers that customer bring in is go in and see what's needed and what's not needed. And a lot of these things are unneeded. There is no reason for them to be in there. iTunes helper. For what? If you want iTunes, you click on it.
Yeah, and one thing I strongly recommend, and I see that people get caught on this all the time, is that if you allow Flash to update on your computer, which most people do, when you're going through the update process, they have a default check on install McAfee on your computer as some sort of scanner. It's in the middle of the page. When you go through that update, don't just clip, just go through and read what's clicking, and uncheck that one. You don't need it. Paradigm shift is saying end the Windows addiction, go open source, use Linux, fight the power. You know what? If you want to do that, fine. It's a great opportunity. I'm glad you can do it. It doesn't work for me.
What'd you say, Nick?
I said it's crazy how you have to watch the installers when you're installing software.
And that's how most of these programs get into the taskbar, is because you just go next. You don't read. Yeah. And you end up there, because I asked people, I said, what is this? He said, I have no idea. I didn't download it. And what's this? I don't know. And what's it? I have no idea what that is. So it's obviously it just gets in there. But Dr. John, if you use CCleaner and just run it because if you brought the computer here, that's the first thing that I would do. Just install it and run it. Do the run cleaner. And that will speed up your machine right there and then, because a lot of these computers build up all these temporary files and junk. Yeah.
All right. I'm getting out of here, guys.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody, and everybody in the chat room, everybody who's listening and not in the chat room, have a Happy New Year. Don't drink and drive. Try not to drive. What did you
Practice
say?
safe computing.
What, Nick?
I said, don't drink and drive and practice safe computing.
Yep. And thanks everybody. We're gonna take a little break here. We'll be back next year. And I hope you all have a safe New Year's. All right. And I also want to say good morning to Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thank you, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Just remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're at it, like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. There are no live shows this week, as it turns out. Everybody's taking off. So we'll see you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, The Tanya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.